2, 1, and we're live. Yeah, we did it. The internet can see you now. Hello, welcome. We've got ourselves a fun romp. If you guys, by the way, now if you want to go check out the stream, you guys can see the overlay and the production work that I've been doing.
That looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, so we're gonna play Blades, and I'm really excited about it because it's my favoriteest game. And we've got a whole bunch of new people on the channel, and I'm really excited about it because they're all dear friends. Marissa, you've been here before.
Hello.
You're a veteran of the channel now.
Am I? Am I really?
You've been on the channel twice, so I think that's enough to make you a veteran. Okay. I mean, you have, in as far as like RPG appearances go, you have seniority over everyone else here. So
okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, so we're gonna play Blades. So we'll go around, and I'll say hi to each of you. And why don't we, as we do that, I'll ask you about your character and what you're playing and all of that. So Marissa, please tell me about your character.
So my character's name is Dante. Peregrine. I'm pulling up my character sheet. Hold on.
It's all good.
He grew up on the Dagger Isles. He was the son of like a con artist who was always kind of getting into trouble, and he started working after his father passed. He started working on a ship. Long story short, he knows how to talk. He knows how to get what he wants most of the time anyway.
Nice.
And he is often very distracted by attractive women, men.
Hell yeah.
Various whatever creatures.
Dope.
Ghosts probably.
Sure, why not?
Why not? And
it's gonna be one of those kind of campaigns.
Yeah. Whatever, he's down.
Casper lost some weight. He's looking good these days. Like
seriously, if he looks like Devon Sawa. But anyway, he's often easily distracted, but he knows how to get the job done.
Nice.
So,
and you're a slide, right?
I am a slide. Yes.
Yeah.
So you're like a rogue, but a social rogue.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. So going in overlay order, if we go clockwise, Simone, you're next. Hi, Simone.
Hello. Hi.
Welcome to the channel. I'm very glad that you're here.
I'm so glad to be here. I'm so glad that I was invited to be here.
Of course.
I'm already having fun.
Yeah. Tell me about your character, please.
My character is Mordecai Melbourne. He is a 5'9" male with like not too broad shoulders, kind of lean build. Got some darker olive skin going on, like dark eyes, like very piercing eyes, and he's got some weird like dark electric shock blue hair, like very interesting hair going on. His heritage is he's from Severos, and he used to be in the military, and he loved what he did. He ended up moving through the ranks and becoming like one of the best shooters they had, and then after a while realized like he wasn't getting paid enough, and he had a friend alongside him that he had grown up with through childhood that ended up becoming a bounty hunter, who saw how talented that Mordecai was and said, hey, this is probably how you're going to get a bit more money. And on his very first hit out, he did fantastic, but he was caught by somebody else in the military and immediately exiled. So
Yikes.
Now he's just, there's my cat again.
Hey.
Hey, cat.
Hey.
So now he's just kind of taken to life as an underling and just kind of really loves it. He loves it. He's got the money that he wants. He has it whenever he wants it. But his main thing is that to get money at all hours of the time, he needs to be going at all hours of the time. So he is a drug addict. He's all about the blood needle.
There you go.
He is all about
'Cause-
like staying as amped, as alert as possible. Like, don't
How
need
much-
no sleep.
in anticipation of playing this character, how much coffee do you drink?
I actually have not drinking any coffee. I went straight to,
Blood
cocaine.
needle.
Yeah.
Black tar.
No, black tar heroin would have been the opposite. I went
Yeah.
straight to, cocaine, like to get into character because that's what a good method actor does.
Yeah, I appreciate your
You say
commitment.
meth actor?
Method actor.
I mean,
One
effectively,
second.
meth actor. Sure.
All right, so you can't do that on stream because Twitch TOS, but
No.
no, cool. All right, and you're a hound. So
I am a hound.
You're the like this game's equivalent of like a ranger. What's your pet? Do you have a pet?
I believe my pet, and I talked to Eric a little bit about this, and I want to do a little bit more research before I decide, but I want my pet to be either a crow, a raven, or a blackbird, like
Dope.
one of
So
those.
you're a bird. So like so tonight you could just say like I have my bird do a thing, and we can just envision a bird in our mind's eye, and you can, as the sessions go on, give it more form and feature.
Sweet.
Dope. All right. Hey Tez. Tez, what do you want me?
Hey,
Tez, what do you want me to call you? Because I know you as Tez from WoW, but then you're Bear Pod Gamer on Twitch. So what
Tez works.
Okay.
Tez is fine.
That's probably what I'll call you.
Tez is my WoW character for anybody who's curious, but
Yeah,
that's just what I've picked
But
up as a nickname.
I knew you for years before I started doing any streaming as Tez. So, welcome to actually being on the channel. You're usually in the chat like all the time. You always come and hang
Yeah,
out.
this is kind of crazy being actually on the screen. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, totally. So welcome, finally.
Side note, important question.
Yeah.
Horde or Alliance?
For the Horde!
Yeah,
Okay, we got-
obviously.
Okay.
I mean,
Obviously.
I was a bit faction fluid in WoW, but settled on Horde for the most part. I
play both sides, but I prefer Horde.
I started Alliance because that's where all of my friends started, but then went to Horde because I actually wanted to like get good and take the game seriously. If that makes sense. Yeah.
I just didn't want to play a pretty class. I wanted to play the monster class.
Anyways, we can make a podcast about WoW later.
Yeah.
Why
There's
don't you
just more things that I don't understand.
It's fine.
I never played WoW either, so.
It's,
Thank you.
you're I would say that you're missing out, but as of right this very moment, you are not missing out.
I'm not
Yeah.
missing out at all.
Check back in like a year and maybe you'll be missing out again. We'll see.
Hmm.
Tell me about your character, Tez.
All right. My character's name is Amazon, nicknamed Echo. She's from the outskirts of the town. She's kind of hard to describe. She's definitely a worker. She always has been kind of the manual labor type person. She's a cutter.
Nice.
But she gets her way around by picking up odd working jobs, muscle essentially. She's just the muscle, and her kind of quirk is that because she's from Tykeros. How do you pronounce that? Tykeros.
Yeah.
She's kind of got this dragon scale kind of look all over her body, closer to like pangolin scales.
Cool.
With little horns over the top of her head. She's still mostly humanoid, but looks kind of dragon.
Right, because you wanted to play a dragonborn, but then we weren't playing
I did.
D&D. So. But that's
Do you have like the plate covered claws?
That sure.
Cool, nice. Yeah, that's the cool thing about Tykeros, like Tykeros as a origin place, because the way that it says to make your character is like you have just like a weird demon-y trait, and that can be literally anything. So if you want to be any sort of like weird, like have any sort of like weird different stuff about your body, then you can just be from Tykeros and just be like, LOL demons, sure. Cool, awesome. Last but not least, certainly. Hi, Eric.
Hello.
Eric, I've wanted to play a role-playing game with you for a long time now, and we're finally making it happen.
I've wanted to roleplay with you for a long time. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. So, very good. Excellent. let's tell me about your character.
All right. So my character's name is Geos Solomon, but his alias is 13.
Mm-hmm.
He is an Iruvian noble who is 13th in line to inherit some kind of a large fortune. But the way that it's out of like 20 people, mind you.
Right.
But the way that his family works is for however many like seats away you are, you inherit more money. So if you're behind somebody, you want to kill them so that you can move up in line and get more money. So hopefully be number one and inherit all the money. And then you get to be like, haha, fight for my money.
Right.
I don't want to fight. So I was like, I'm good. I'm going to move.
Okay.
Like, I'm good.
I was going to say, it sounds like Eric just pitched our campaign for us. Like that sounds like a whole campaign right there.
Well, I was like, you know what? I'm good. I don't want to fight about it, so I'm going to bounce. I didn't, like, formally withdraw. I was like, you know what? You guys fight it out. But if, like, in 10 years I find out I'm now evidently, like, second place, I'm going to be like, oh, shit, wait, hold on, I'm in this.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. You're a whisperer.
Are we... oh, sorry. What's everyone's nicknames again?
Yeah. So, like, when you're doing crime... You gotta use your code name because you don't want the blue coats, which are the cops, to get wind of your real name because that would spell bad stuff. So what's everyone's code name?
I'm Crow.
Crow.
Echo.
That's right. And you were 13.
Yep.
13.
I'm Undertow.
Undertow. Dope.
Love it.
I love that song. It's a good Tool song. Cool. All right. The introductions have been done. So shall we? So the way that I like to start Blades games is not with like y'all meet in a tavern. I like to start like in the middle of the action. So we're gonna start like in media res of like some shit going down. We're gonna deal with that shit going down, and that's gonna be our first kind of like thing that we work through together, and we'll get to the finer details of like how y'all met and how long have y'all been working together and like all of that kind of stuff. Like we'll get to the finer details of all of that a little bit later, but for now we're gonna start in the action. And the way that we're going to do that is I've got 4 questions, and I conveniently have 4 players here, so I'm gonna ask each one of you a question, and that's going to set up our starting scenario.
Ooh.
So with that, who would like to be asked the first question?
Sure, I'll go for it.
All right, cool. So you guys have been. We'll say that you guys were tasked with stealing something from a place, and so my first question for you, Tez, is where are you that you are stealing from? It can be like kind of whatever that you would imagine exists in this like fantasy.
Probably stealing something from a warehouse. Something, maybe a large piece of equipment for some.
Cool. Yeah, totally. You're in a warehouse and you're stealing some sort of like device. Is that sounds about right?
Yeah, so maybe something that for not like a tinker advice, not
like a device.
Yeah, a device for like moving material of some sort.
Okay, perfect. Eric, who are you stealing from? Like, are you?
Definitely some like noble of the area who might have like snubbed me on the street, but like didn't realize they did it. Okay. Like they probably looked at me funny, and I was like, "What? Because I'm not from around here? Cool, right. We're gonna steal your car."
Yeah, and then your kind of like handler like was like, "I need you to steal this thing for transporting," and you were like, "Oh, I know just the person."
Yeah. I was like, "Oh, perfect."
Excellent.
And then like I met up with everyone else, and I was like, "Guys, we have to do this." Oh, I had a vision.
Right. Excellent. Marissa.
Yep.
How long has that alarm been going off?
Oh boy. I'm gonna say approximately 2.5 minutes.
Okay. So it's been going on long enough that like people have definitely noticed, and people are like are currently on their way to pursue you guys. And Simone, the most important question: whose fault was it that your cover got blown?
Ooh. Let's go with the hardworking pangolin.
Oh.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just
Right.
click, clicking across the floor.
Right. So excellent. So yeah, so we kind of like fade in, and I'm very cinematic in the way that I describe stuff. I describe stuff like you're in a TV show, like, and so, you know. So we start with like a big sweeping sort of like cool expensive drone shot of Duskfall. This is like the expensive drone shot that we'll probably use a bunch in the campaign whenever we need like an overhead shot of anything. And it kind of like the camera kind of zooms into the docks and like into a warehouse on the docks, where you guys have been commissioned by a group to steal a special type of wagon. It's a special type of wagon that is used for transporting electroplasm. We'll call it that, because electroplasm is like the lifeblood of the city. It's used to like power street lamps and all of the like electronic stuff in the city. You guys found the you guys snuck into the warehouse. You guys found the thing that you're trying to steal. And Undertow, what happened that you like? What did you do that like kind of set the alarms off?
What did we? Well, it was Echo's fault.
Oh, it was
So
Echo's fault. Okay.
I'm gonna say
I dropped a loud tool or something, and it
I'm
just
gonna
clanked down the hallways.
no. Well, it's an alarm, so the alarm would have to have been triggered by something. So I would assume that maybe you bumped into something by accident. I don't even know if you clanked into anything. I think you just maybe bumped into something.
That makes sense. I'm just gonna write down everybody's code names so I have it right here so that I can get all of the names right. So,
I'm just gonna write down mine so I don't forget.
There you go. Okay. So you guys hear this alarm go off. You hear in the distance some like goonish lackeys, some like guards that you like probably like, I don't know, snuck past or distracted or something, like saying like, "Oi, what's going on in there?" "I don't know, let's go check it out." And you hear them like hurriedly going towards you. What do you guys want to do?
Well, fantastic. This is going swimmingly. Is there like an exit?
Great.
Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. We can get out of this. Just trust me. I got this.
If we take a deep breath, we're going to be arrested. We need to run.
No, guys, I have my ship. It's not far. We're at the docks.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We
It's
just
on the
need
water.
we just need to make sure that these guys let us walk out of here without calling more guards.
They're not gonna let us just walk out of here.
Just let me handle it.
Oh
I got this. Just act
I'm-
natural.
All right, so the guards start to approach. You're gonna try to talk to them.
I'm gonna try to talk to them.
All right. So yeah, so the guards round the corner, and you see they are just kind of like big burly goon number 1 and big burly goon number 2. They've got like sailors kind of garb on, and they come through, and one of them's like, "Oi, what are you doing here?"
Gentlemen, please. I can explain. We were hired to clean up this warehouse. We are janitors.
"Oi, we didn't hear anything about no janitors." And do you want to make a
No,
roll?
no, of course you wouldn't have. I mean, we are working for. Can I make up a name of someone
Yeah,
that?
totally.
We are working for
the Lamp
the no what?
The Lamplax.
Sure.
They're the gang that owns this warehouse.
Okay, so we're working. Sorry, what are they called again?
The Lamplax, like lamp.
The Lamplax. We're working for the gentlemen. We can absolutely.
For you.
Oh, thank you. We can. It's not. It's not a big deal.
All right, you wanna try to roll something to convince these goons to
I do.
to like lay off your shit. All right. So the way that this works, and we'll walk through all the rolls. First roll of the campaign, by the way, sets the tone. And this works because you've done this before. So you tell me what skill that you want to roll.
I'm definitely using sway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to sway them to
just trust
to fuck the hell out. Yeah,
that we're totally here. Everything's cool.
Right, totally.
Right. Yeah.
So this is a risky situation.
Yep.
Because it's kind of the standard level of risk is risky. So something bad can happen if you fail, or something good can happen if you succeed. And I'm gonna say that this is a standard effect, meaning that they can they're not gonna be that hard to convince, but they might not necessarily believe you.
Okay. And no bonus dice, so
correct. So a 3. All right. So the way that this works, you can see we've got the die ticker in the bottom of the overlay there.
Right.
So we look at
pizza.
Huh?
I'm receiving pizza. I'll be back in 2 seconds. I'm still listening.
Go for it. So we've got we look at the highest number that you rolled. So you rolled 2 3s, meaning that the result overall is a 3, which means that you succeed, but there's a complication. The way that we'll say that there's you succeed but there's a complication is the guy who is kind of like taking point on talking to you kind of like narrows his eyes at you and says, well, all right, just try to be a little bit more quiet there, and we're gonna tell the boss about this and just make sure that everything's on the up and up, you know what I mean? So the consequence is you succeed, so they will leave you alone for right now. But the consequence is they're going to tell their boss, and that might lead to trouble down the line.
Is there like a well-known like gang or team or whatever that like the Lamplax don't like?
Oh yeah, totally. The Red Sashes.
Okay. So they're like, we'll tell our bosses. Is there like a name of the Red Sashes that I could drop like nonchalantly, like, oh man, whatever's gonna yell at us? Not to like start a fight, but like so that they tell their bosses that, so that their bosses think it was that team. Does that make sense?
I like it. A little diversion.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well. So if you're in a Lampblack facility right now. So if you name drop the Red Sashes, they're going to be like upset at that and probably like think that you're enemies.
I was thinking more like, oh, we're dumb spies. We didn't know. We didn't know we were spies. We were just hired. All right, never mind.
But I mean, you could
put more work on the slide. Never mind.
Right. No, it's all good.
Okay, so they're leaving, but they're not going to be gone for long. So,
right.
We need to make haste, gentlemen, and pangolin person. Sorry, you're a lady, right?
Lady, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Lady Pangolin, let's go.
Is there any way that I would know if these 2 goons possibly are wanted?
What do you mean?
For a bounty?
Oh.
You gonna have like a black book?
Make a
I'm asking.
Okay, we're gonna do another little tutorial section. This is like you ask this and then the screen freezes and the little tutorial message pops up to tell you about fortune rolls. So a fortune roll is the kind of roll that you can make when there's no real skill at play and there's no real like consequence. It's just like if you succeed, you like it's like a luck save. I don't know if you've played a game with like a luck save before.
Yeah.
So we're gonna call this a 2 dice fortune roll. So you should be able to see on your character sheet a roll fortune button that is
it's under the friends section.
So underneath where your friends are on the character sheet, there's a roll fortune button.
Okay.
Do you find it?
Looking.
All right.
Roll fortune.
Yeah, so do that with 2 dice, and if you succeed on this roll, then like you've probably seen one of them in your like bounty list.
Notes.
Just like whatever the roll is about. So like this roll is about like, are these bad?
Assessing bounty on goons.
Yeah.
Submit. A 2 and a 1.
Okay, so no, so you don't remember seeing anything about these guys.
Okay.
Because the highest dice you got there is a 2, and a 2 is a failure. So
Okay.
nothing bad happens when you roll fortune. It just means that that like whatever you were looking for isn't there or doesn't.
Okay.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Good to know.
So yeah, so we kind of like zoom in on Crow for a second as you kind of like narrow your eyes at them, and we see like yeah, we see you make the insight check look, and then you realize like, oh, these guys are just, you know, I don't like you know like some lamplacks that are on that bounty list, but they're not any of these nerds.
Okay.
And so they're heading off to give a call to their boss.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna go. Can you do something about the alarm?
And he says, and the alarm the entire time up until this point has been like really down in the mix of the score. And as soon as you say that, we like it's kind of brought to everyone's attention that there's an alarm going off this whole time. And they say like, oh yeah, just don't trip it again, please. And
Well, what did we do to trip it the first time? We're not sure. She just bumped something. Should we not bump anything? Is there any other alarm triggers that we should be aware of, just so that we can clean without annoying you?
Well, I don't know. That's a bit above my pay grade there. Do I know how these
Of course. Thank you, sir.
I don't know how these whispers set up their stupid ghost alarms.
Oh.
And he like grumbles.
Racism.
I've already lost interest in this conversation, and I'm going back to work on whatever I was doing, just not as like suspiciously.
Not as suspiciously.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
No, that's fine. What were you saying?
No, so are we close to we're at the docks, right?
Yeah, so what's the plan? Is the plan to get this carriage that you're supposed to steal and like get it onto your boat and like escape that way?
That would be convenient.
I mean,
but
is the carriage inside of a warehouse, or are we stealing it from like, outside?
No, you're inside a warehouse right now.
All right, so we have to get the doors open.
Right.
That's probably one of the things that trips the alarm.
Most likely.
one can only assume.
Should we
smash it and run?
I was going to say, should we drive the carriage through it? Would that damage the carrot? Probably. They have to.
Well, what do the doors look like, and what does the carriage look like?
Are any of us subtle?
I am.
Okay. Can you pick a lock?
Let me look at my character sheet.
Technically, anyone can at least attempt
Can I
to pick a
command the lock? You better open.
There is a slide ability called Rook's Gambit, which lets you roll whatever stat you want to do anything. Like instead of like, you know, being like, oh, I want to tinker, you could say like, I want to sway that lock to open, and like we come up with some narrative way of like, you like, there's like a dude that you convince to like open.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rook's Gambit's so fun.
That's what it's the one I took, but
I got nothing that can pick locks at this point.
Yeah, picking locks is generally like a tinker thing.
Yeah,
or,
can anyone
or a finesse thing or something like that.
And nobody can disarm an alarm, right?
Not with anything I've got on me.
I can hunt it.
Well,
but it's a whisper lock, right? Can you use your whisper magic to do something?
Can I study it?
Yeah, you could probably like study it to kind of like understand what's going on.
Can I do that?
Here. Yeah,
I'll
totally.
do that.
Yeah, totally.
I'm gonna go up to her and go like, all right, everyone, give me a moment.
Yeah.
Woogity, 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 woogity. Which is what I imagine studying anything of the arcane is like.
Probably. Yeah,
That's how I got through college.
Yeah, this is you like kind of like looking through and like looking on the walls in different places for like glyphs and kind of like determining what the glyphs and the runes mean and stuff. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So you want to study it, so we'll call it a study roll. We'll call it a controlled position. So because the previous roll succeeded, there's no present threat, so it's controlled. You either succeed or like nothing really too bad will happen.
Okay. I either succeed or I either know it or I don't.
Yeah, and we'll call it a standard effect. I'm gonna ping in here a little tutorial message for you guys here.
Oh.
So you guys might notice on your character sheet that you guys have stress. The little stress boxes there. So you can use the stress to do all sorts of different things in the game. One of the things that you can do, if you would like, is you can take 2 stress to push yourself and get an additional dice on a roll. So if you want an additional dice on your study roll, you could take 2 stress to do so.
All right, yeah, why not?
Yeah, I'm not saying you have to. I'm finding the little.
Is that like I mean, I feel like that's going to become like a normal thing in the game. Like you're going to be.
It's yeah.
Are there
like
other
it's a
concern about taking stress on?
So the way that stress works is you have 9 of it. The only way that you get rid of stress is by indulging in your vice in a different phase of the game, which we'll get to a little bit later. Once you fill up those 9 boxes, you get a trauma, which is another thing to kind of like role play out. And when you get 4 traumas, your character either dies or you retire them somehow.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll take the stress. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm always stressed when I study, so that's
I'm stressed currently.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'll take a stress. Perfect. So instead of like woogie, I'm like
yeah, a little bit harder.
It's like,
go for it.
And then what do I do?
This is controlled, and this is a standard effect.
Where? I don't know what to do.
So click on study on your like the word.
That's
study
right.
On
you showed us. So it's a controlled, submit, and standard, right?
Yep. And then since you're pushing yourself with stress, tick off 2 stress on your character sheet there, and then you can add 1 bonus dice.
1 bonus dice.
Yes.
Submit.
Yeah, you got a 6. So you succeed with 0 consequence.
That's amazing. Yes.
So I'm like this. Yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah. So we see
Wikipedia the shit out of that.
We see 13 sort of like focus, and like the camera goes into like Arkham Asylum detective vision, and we see the runes and the ghost things, and there are just basically like a bunch of like warding glyphs that are just like proximity based. So like all of the cargo has these little glyphs attached to them that like whenever they move a certain distance from the glyph, it like triggers the alarm. And that's why the alarm went off before, is what you can intuit, because you moved the cart a little far away from where its glyph was.
That's gonna suck.
Can
for
I
us to remove this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can I recreate that glyph on the cart, and then we could just ride the cart away, and it would technically never go off?
You could certainly try.
No, it'd certainly be. Let's hold that off.
Yeah. I mean, like it's a plan. I don't know if it's the best plan, but it's a plan.
That's a good plan, Steve. You know what? Look at me.
What about this plan?
Yeah, solid plan C. Yeah, cool.
I feel like dismantling one of them, if we do it wrong, it's gonna like set off. Like then we can't just be like, guys, we're janitors. So like, why are you turning off?
There's only so much my mouth can get us out of.
I spilled too much
Wait,
mop
that's
water.
not wrong. Or did it?
So here's I'm gonna put another tutorial ping up for you guys. So a cool mechanic in this game that I love very much and I use in everything are called clocks. And so clocks exist in certain. There's like a 4-part clock, a 6-part, an 8-part, and so on. And they are basically ways to do a lot of things in this game. But I'll tell you about a clock that I have running right now as a GM. I've got a 4-part clock called the Lampblack Show Up. And so what I can do is I can tick that as like as a consequence, or like as time kind of progresses, and it kind of allows me to it allows like things to continue to move, and puts a little bit of stake on it and everything. And so what I will tell you now is that I'll eventually have a way to show you guys this in Roll20. I know there's a way to do it, I just don't know how yet. So hopefully for next week I'll figure it out. Right now you have a 4-part clock of the lampblack show up, and it's there are 2 ticks on it. Based on the amount of time that has passed, and that's the that's the like the guys like called their boss, and like
is there a way we would know that would our characters know that?
Your characters could kind of maybe infer it, but I'm mostly just telling you guys as players.
Okay.
And there are certain clocks. There are some clocks that I will keep hidden from you. There are certain clocks that I will tell you guys about. There are certain clocks, so like when you guys like work on like long-term projects for yourselves, the way that you work on them in your downtime is with clocks and stuff.
I've read about that. I like that.
Yeah. So right now I'm telling you guys as players, you have a 4-part clock of the lampblack show up that is 50% full. And again, I will sort of find a way to display that for you in game in future sessions.
So
Okay.
Should we just make a run for it? Like push the cart as quickly as possible, try to blow the doors open or bang them through the doors and just get out of here?
Kinda.
Or
I like that plan.
okay.
All right.
Or
So-
wait, well, hold on. Or like, what was the other plan? There might be a better one.
I don't know, but if we have an inkling that bad things are coming, is the alarm still going off, by the way?
No. They've like disabled that one. Yeah, they
If
don't.
we know the alarm's gonna go off anyway, if we move the cart, we might as well go quickly.
Yeah. So get the door open, because there can't be
I was gonna say,
proximity
so
on the
first thing
door.
we're gonna do is throw open the door.
Yeah.
All right. So the direction that the guards came left, going to get the lampblacks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't know that they're coming, right? Never mind. It's gonna be
But-
like barricade the door.
Right.
Well,
We
he did
just
say
need-
he
we
was
just
gonna
need
go.
the door to the outside.
He did say he was gonna go tell the bosses. So we assume that they're either coming or something.
Yeah.
They're gonna
Yeah,
find out we're not
And
supposed to be.
to get this, to show this kind of like, just to kind of like show exactly kind of what is going on, I'll do a quick kind of like cut away from the characters that, again, your characters wouldn't know this, but I will show you as players. We see like those 2 goons kind of like talking to a little kid who's like a messenger, and like the kid ran off, and then he like just came back, and like he came back with like another 2 guys, and they say the boss says there ain't supposed to be no janitors on duty today. And the other guy says, oh well, I mean there's some in there right now, and they're kind of like talking and having that conversation as we speak. So like in a little bit they will kind of like come and like investigate further, and
Yeah,
just
they're
like
probably
the
gonna figure
overnight-
out
possibly more
like, this is
hostily.
the week that they asked off.
Yes.
I could just imagine their conversation being like, well, I guess they didn't have mops. They kind of looked like they had weapons.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that doesn't really make sense, I
It's
guess.
like one of them was asking what tripped all the alarms. I thought they were just human.
What?
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Totally. And
Yeah,
and,
so
yeah. Sorry,
let's
go
go open the door.
ahead. Okay.
Who's-
Sounds good.
Can I disable the alarm? What would I roll?
What would you roll?
Attune?
You could.
Could I try to attune myself to it and break it without it going off? Is that how that works?
You could like attune to try to like disable their runes or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll go for that.
you could try that.
All right, I'm gonna try that.
All right.
Position
This
control.
is risky.
Yeah, because we're like, yeah, that's true. And effect.
Standard. There.
All right.
This isn't super advanced whisper magic. It's not like a crazy high tier lock or
Okay.
anything like that. So it's not particularly deadly if you fuck it up. All right.
He got a 3.
You got it.
Yeah, that's
You only have 1 dice in a tune.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So
Because I took study, command, and consort instead because I'm summoning shit
I see.
or stuff.
I understand. Okay. So what does it look like when you attune?
I imagine it's me just going like woogity woogity woogity, but like not saying woogity. I say that for like the effect of like when
Right.
other people are looking. But this time I'm actually like uttering things in like whatever the
Mhm.
spidery language of arcane is in this world.
Yeah. And so
And,
we
like-
see Yeah, we see you
Yeah.
kind of like muttering some arcane words, and you put your hands up, and we see like the camera does this cool effect where it like inverts, and we get to see for the first time the world through the perspective of the ghost field, which is a kind of like metaphysical plane that is adjacent to the real world, which is where like you can like interact with ghosts and all that cool spooky shit. And we see your eyes kind of like glaze over as you can also see into this kind of like inverted world. And you can see the rune in this plane. The rune is kind of glowing, and you see a chain, and the linking to the chain like floating up in the sky is a banshee, which is a like kind of like a feral ghost. And it's like kind of like head is drooped and dangling like this, and it's got like a chain around it, a collar around its neck, and a chain that links to the
because it's an alarm.
Right.
Right.
And so you see
so
that
it's a chained up banshee. Makes sense.
Yeah. So you see that there, and you know, as a whisper, you've seen these kind of like binding rituals before, and you've learned how to disrupt them. Like you've done this before, and so you start going through, and it's like a really intricate kind of like spell of like kind of like dispelling that you have to perform, and you do it, and the chain kind like the runes kind of erase and the chain breaks, and in breaking the chain you wake up the banshee. So you succeed at disrupting the alarm, and your consequence is you've now woken up the banshee. And as you do,
what did you do?
Do we know this?
He did the thing you asked, though.
I did do the thing.
So
All
okay.
we wanted. All right, so now we have to also move still. Oh, but now that.
Hold
Go ahead.
On. So hold on. So I'm gonna do another little tutorial blip here, and we're going to learn about a thing called resisting consequences. So
I know nothing about that.
Yeah, I know you don't. That's why this is a tutorial blip just for you, bud. So in this game, when you get a consequence and you don't like that consequence, you don't want to suffer the results of that consequence, you can roll to resist the consequence. And the way that you do that is you make a roll in whatever the ability that you did. So like because this wasn't
resolve, prowess, or insight.
Yeah. So because this wasn't a tune roll, it would be a resolve roll, which would automatically roll for you. And the way that this works is you resist the consequence, but you take 6 minus your highest roll in stress.
Okay.
So you would roll 2 dice here because it's based on the highest dice you have in that stat. And if you roll a 6, then you resist with no stress. Like good job on you. If you roll like a 2 as your highest, then you would resist, but you would take 4 stress, because that's how math works. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So just letting you know, like that's a thing that you can do. You can always resist consequences.
Okay. So is that what I'm? So the banshee wakes up.
You can do that if you would like to.
But what happens after the banshee? Like, is she just like, oh good morning? No, and I'm like, oh, good morning, banshee. Carry on.
So we see the chain breaks. So to go back into like the fiction, we see the chain break in the ghost field, and we cut back into the real world. And as the you guys see 13 kind of like doing his thing, which like if you guys have worked with him before, you've probably seen this shit. Like you kind of know what's up. And then all of a sudden you just hear a loud piercing shriek of the alarm going off again.
But like also me going, well, it's disabled.
Well, we better get moving because it's making a lot of noise. Let's get this door open.
Meanwhile, let's continue to try to get the door open.
So does the piercing scream do anything to me that I have to make the resolve check?
No, you can just like the resolve check or the resisting check is entirely it's entirely based on you whether or not you want to make it.
Okay. Like would I? Okay, yeah. I follow now.
Yeah,
kind of.
So like so you could do like a little bit more of a concrete example of this is like if you're like fighting someone and you take a consequence against them and you like take level 2 harm, then you can resist that consequence for stress, and you can be like, oh, like they were gonna break my leg, but I like moved my leg at the last second to avoid
Gotcha.
it.
Okay, I follow now.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no problem.
So do we have weapons on us now?
let's go into another little tutorial segment. Let's talk about your inventory. So this inventory system is another thing I fucking love about this game. So if you look at items, oh, I just dropped my pen. If you look at items in your character sheet, up at the top it shows load, and you can see it's like light, normal, or heavy load. And at the start of every score, which is like the actual like criming of the game, the crime phase, if you will, you pick a load.
The criming.
If you take a light load, you don't have access to that much stuff, but you can like pass as just like a citizen on the street. If you take a heavy load, you can bring a lot of stuff with you, but you like look like you're like the fucking like guy. You're like the warrior running around in like tier 1 with like Thunder Fury on your back, right? Like you look like you are like up to some shit, and like normal load is like kind of in the middle. But
You're like first day of high school when you're carrying all of your books to every class. You're like,
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So you
I'm prepared.
So you only pick your load at the start of a mission, and based on what you pick, those slots, that's how many slots you have to like whip something out of your bag. So like if you think to like heist movies and stuff, when they like just pull something out and they have like the perfect tool for the perfect situation, that's what you do. So like I'm looking at Eric, I'm looking at your sheet right now, and let's say like you like get into a fight and you're like, well, luckily I have a blade or two, so you can mark off one thing and you can like pull out a blade or two to fight with or whatever. Or like you could say that you have a large weapon and you could tell me what that is and mark off two spaces on your inventory and pull out whatever large weapon you have.
okay, so it's okay. I follow now.
Yeah, so all of those things that you have on there that you can check off on your inventory space, that is stuff that you could have. So if you want to have like an item to help you in this situation, you can. You pick it up. You check it off.
Okay, so just to clarify for me,
Yeah.
I like to do that when I learn new games.
Absolutely.
At the beginning of the score, we
Yes.
would select the load that we want, whether we want to be able to pick 3, 5, or 6 items.
Correct.
And then at some point during said mission, we could then use one of those items to be like, oh wait, guys, I totally packed this.
Yeah, exactly. But
Got
you
it,
don't.
okay.
But you don't have to predetermine what those items are.
Got
Right.
it. Perfect.
It's like
Okay.
it's that like right tool for the right job scenario.
Got it.
But as soon as you click it, that's it.
Then
That's part of
it's-
your
So-
that's part of your inventory. Okay.
One question I had was, is there a reason why some of them are like in bold and some of them are not?
I was gonna ask that too.
Those are things that those are like special things for like your class.
Okay.
Okay.
So Eric has a whisper. I'm looking at Eric's sheet, which is why
Yeah,
I'm like
no,
using you
it's
as an
fine.
example. So like as a whisper, you have access to a fine lightning hook and a fine spirit mask if you would like them.
Wait, so does everyone have a cane sword?
No.
I've got
that's-
a fine hand weapon and a heavy
I was gonna
one.
say, like, I have a cane sword, and that's badass, so...
Yeah.
I have a ghost key. What's that?
It is a special little item that you can use to temporarily enter the ghost field.
Okay.
Fucking Danny Phantom.
I'm
Yeah.
saying right now.
It doesn't last
Why
very
is
long.
he
It's
ghost?
like
That's
yeah, and
Ghost.
I'll tell you now, it's generally an incredibly dangerous thing to actually use.
Oh,
but,
I imagine.
You know,
Great.
So does it
So-
work like you? Sorry, does it work like
No.
you put it into like a door keyhole, you turn it, and then it,
You-
or just anywhere?
you like this is the cool thing about this system is you tell me.
Okay, cool. Because I'm wondering if it's like an item I can be like, here, this will unlock that door.
Ooh.
The plane of existence.
It could be.
You rip a hole in the fabric of reality.
So I'm assuming there are giant warehouse doors that lead out to the dock.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Those are the ones, and those are not the ones that the goons went through. They went the other way.
They went kind of like down the like, because there's like the main doors, right, and there's like a big line because you need to keep like the entrance clear for things to come in and come out, and they kind of went back towards the doors and like off to the side to like a little
Okay.
office type area.
Do the doors look, now that he's unlocked it, do they look like they're easily openable, or how heavy are they?
I mean, they look like heavy, like, wooden doors, and there's like a big wooden bar across them. I would also like to mention that there's still currently a banshee shrieking, and an alarm going off.
I was gonna ask about the banshee.
Yeah, please.
Is the banshee like automatically like, oh, you're living beings, I'm mad at you, or can I use a skill to try to be like, no, you cut it out?
You could absolutely attempt to do that.
All right. Well, I would like, if I may, to make a command. To command it to stop. But I have very select skills, guys.
So in order to do that, I would say you could attempt that, but it would be a compel. Right?
What's that?
So you like, do you have the ability compel? No, you don't. Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay. So
right.
so I'll say yeah, like so without the compel, like it's going to be it, like you can't really do anything like to like actively communicate with this ghost right now.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. It's a little bit beyond your like grasp of
Isn't
power at the moment.
a question about ghosts. Are they
an autobiography?
Are they doing anything other than is it doing anything other than the screaming at us?
Just yelling?
Or is it hurting us?
It's currently just screaming, and it's hurting, and it's piercing your ears. Whether or not it does anything more, you are not sure yet.
Okay.
All right.
So
we gotta open these doors.
is anyone strong?
That's me.
Yeah.
Can you open those doors?
I sure can try.
And while you do that,
If you can get the screeching thing to stop.
Can you
Just
do it
while
even
it's
if it's
screeching.
still screeching at us? Because
Yes, yes.
This is your montage. Let's go.
thanks.
Huh?
We've been here enough.
I want to try and lift the big bar off the door that's blocking it
Okay.
to try and.
What skill would you like to use?
I guess that would be wreck.
It sure would be.
I don't have that one. What?
That sounds like a
Me
perfect
neither.
skill. Yeah, you do. It's under
Like,
powers.
I don't want to damage the door.
No,
I
we
just
don't
want to
have
get
anything in it.
piece
Oh, I do.
off
Yeah.
so we can get out.
Yeah, but we can use it as kind of like the stand-in for like picking up the like big bar,
Lift
like
big
the
thing.
bolt, and like moving it aside and pushing the doors open. We can use that as a. So this is a risky move right now.
Okay.
And we'll call it standard effect. So like if you succeed, you do it. If you fail, then more bad shit might happen.
So just open risky and then some.
Risky standard, and then if you would like to, you could push yourself for a bonus die. Which is take 2 stress for a bonus die if you would like.
Sure, I'll push my.
Okay.
We're all.
I believe in you.
Yeah. This is a stressful situation. It's perfectly reasonable to get stressed out here. All right. Let's see that. Roll that beautiful wreck footage. All right, you get a 4.
Thank God.
So
you took that bonus die.
Yeah.
right? So you succeed, but there's a consequence. So describe the success first. So what does it look like? There's like this big door with the deadbolt. Like, what does it look like you succeeding at this?
So the deadbolt completely comes off its hinges.
Perfect.
And clanks to the floor, and I push the door open. Does it push or slide?
You can push it and like it slides open. You know?
All right, so I slide it open.
They're not big heavy. They're big and heavy doors, so they don't like open like a saloon. Like
I was thinking more like an airplane hangar, maybe. Like it slides open to the side.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's like it's big heavy doors, and you can like Dark Souls entering a door. You can like push.
Yeah, like you push the 2 open, you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
As there's
thank
just like
God.
bolts clanging
Yeah.
off to the side.
And I completely ignore the metal pieces falling
Yeah.
off. And
Too late for that. We have a
I'm like,
banshee.
open the door. It's open.
Yeah.
Get the thing.
So what happens is we get this shot. So we see you like kind of like they're like, "Oh, Echo, can you get this out of the way?" And you just like crack your knuckles and start walking
There
through
you
the
go.
door. And then the camera cuts and we see the door from the outside, and we just get like a shot of the door, and it's like there's nothing going on, and you just hear like like you hear like scraping, and you hear like as you like throw the thing, and then we get like this dope ass shot of like the doors opening, and they open towards the camera, and as we do, we see your character like pushing them open. And like that's, so we get this cool like super heroic looking scene of Echo pushing the doors open, and then as you push the door open and you do that, your consequence is that it fills up the Lampblack's show up clock, and you open the door to 4 Lampblacks, the 2 that were there before, and their 2 friends who showed up, and they kind of like eye you menacingly.
The floor is clean.
Yeah.
We couldn't get out because to get our supplies.
The floor is not clean. There's now metal shavings everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Like the floor's clean, and we pan over to like there being like shit all over the floor. Like a little tumbleweed tumbles across.
Is the wagon the wagon that we're stealing, is it like steam powered? Do we need a horse?
Yeah, can we actually push it or use it as like a weapon or a force or something?
I was like, I hope these boys know how to jump because we're about to drive. Like, I'm gonna get out the way.
Right.
I thought it was like a wheelbarrow. Am I wrong?
No, it's like a wagon.
Oh, is it like electronic, or is it like you have to push it?
Who wants to make
Does
a
it come with a small Chinese man?
Who wants to? It's a little, yeah,
You know, a Rufian man.
Yeah, a little,
He's like, I'm ready to go.
It's a little
Let's
ghost rickshaw.
Yes.
Who wants to make a fortune roll to determine whether or not this is a steam powered wagon, or whether or not you need something to operate?
I made the last one, and it
I
didn't
say
go
we
well.
don't let Simone do it.
Yeah,
I'll-
exactly.
Who
I'll
wants
do
to-
it.
I'll let anyone do it. All right, cool. Make a 2 dice fortune roll.
Alright.
Actually, make a 1 dice fortune roll to
Ooh.
determine whether or not, if you succeed, then it's steam powered, and if you fail, then you're going to have to like move it some other way.
Hold on. Is this steam powered?
How steampunk is this world?
Oh, no.
Not
Oh.
It is
steampunk.
not.
Not steam powered.
It is
We don't
not-
know. It
not-
could be. Who
not
knows?
not nearly steampunk enough, unfortunately. Yeah, and so like as you guys are kind of wondering in that moment, we kind of like get like this pan over to it, and we see that it's just kind of a regular wagon.
Mm.
It's a regular ass
we-
wagon.
Can we push it?
Conceivably, depends on what you're doing and how you roll. I would like to interject with another little tutorial bit real quick, and I want to teach you about another fun mechanic of this game. Eric, you're gonna have fun with this one, called flashbacks.
Okay.
So a flashback is a mechanic in the game, and you can you tell me what you want. So this is like if you think of like the heist movies, it's when like they're like trying to escape, and they're like there's like a locked door, and it flashes back to one of the characters like sneaking in before and like putting a key to the lock like under a table in the main bar area or something like that. Like
Okay.
you like prepared something in advance. So flashbacks take a certain amount of stress. They either take 0, 1, or 2 stress, determined by me, and that's determined by how like reasonable the flashback is. If like you just want to like have scoped out the place in advance and like know the layout of it to be able to escape easier, then that's not a very like you don't need to take stress for that. But if it's like
Right.
I had this like incredibly specific thing in place that I planned for in advance because I was thinking that this exact scenario might come up, then it's going to be 2 stress because that's like a bit more specific, but still possible.
Right.
Okay. So here for this example, and again, like I'm being a little bit railroady here, this will be a lot more like open-ended as you guys learn the mechanics. So it's feasible that one of you could do a flashback to you knew that you were going to have to move this wagon, so you could have like prepared some like a horse or something like that, or in this it's goats in this universe, you could have like prepared a riding goat to like hitch to the wagon or something conceivably in advance that was like waiting.
I feel like my character might have done that with the military like tactical background, might have done something like that, unless somebody else feels like they would have.
No, you could have kept it on the ship if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, or it could be hiding like behind the warehouse or something.
Oh, okay, that
A
works too.
really, really quiet goat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Just grazing.
we're not
about-
going. Sorry, go ahead.
What about like a prepared distraction, knowing that we'd have to bust out of here? Like maybe an explosion goes off to the side, and the guards are distracted.
You could totally do something like that too.
Okay.
Do you guys both want a flashback? And like Simone, you can have planned out to like have the means to escape with a wagon, and Echo, you could have potentially created a distraction for the guards.
Sure.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Like I knew that the door we'd have to come out
Right.
and set up something to fall over and crash or
So I'll say that both of these flashbacks are like kind of like middle of the road in terms of like it makes sense, but like it required a little bit of preparation. So I'm gonna say that these are both one stress flashbacks.
Okay.
And so what I'm gonna have you guys do is I'm gonna have you guys roll fortune rolls, and this is for Simone. This is how good are these goats that you got, and for Tez, it's how good are these explosions that you're making.
So how many dice?
So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
You can go first, yeah.
How many dice?
Okay. So this is going to be a 1 dice fortune roll.
Okay.
And this is just a like did you get good goats? Are goat good? How
good.
Yo, but how good these goats?
Good boys.
How is goat?
How good is goat?
Why
What
are
is-
goat? Oh man, these are
Goats are real
excellent.
good.
These are excellent goats.
Oh
So-
hell yeah!
So
Yo, but how good these goats?
so we go into like flashback mode where like everything is like, you know, like kind of like in a dream filter and like a little bit sepia tone, and Crow, if you would like to describe to us the scene in which you acquired these goats.
So earlier in the day, when I had broken off from the group and gone to the bazaar, there was a large gathering of newborn goats that was being sold off, and I made sure to pick the two stoutest and the two healthiest ones for no reasons that they needed to know of, and scooted them off to this warehouse just because.
So, to clarify, earlier today, you bought the two best newborn goats to pull this wagon.
No, like they had brought a bunch of goats into town that were new, and these were part of like the entire goat horde they had going on.
Oh, okay.
Goat
I
horde.
understood the newborn goats, and I was like, so we've got two baby goats that are jumping around. And we're
But
like,
they're like perfect baby goats. They're like the perfectest, greatest goats. Purplest goats. There are purple
Sure,
goats.
why
in
not?
this world,
Purple
by the
goats.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
These
So
are like the strongest from the group that was there. They were like, "Oh, you're going to like milk them," and I'm like, "Yeah."
you really like goat cheese.
Mhm.
Bye.
That's what they're for. Milk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for milk.
I accidentally bought fainting goats. No.
So if you had gotten a 1, that's what you would have gotten. So we like kind of like we get this like flashback, and we pan over and we see like hiding off in the shadows are these perfect ninja goats waiting to be ready for action. And Echo, I'm gonna have you now make a 1 dice fortune roll to see how good at distracting your flashbacks are, your grenades or
My
whatever.
explosion preparation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because what's a first blade session if something doesn't blow up? Honestly.
What do I put in for notes?
Whatever you would like. It's like how are good explosions?
Oh,
Or
Just
whatever.
type boom?
Question mark?
Yeah.
Boom, yes? Yes, boom? Big bada boom?
Dr. Boom.
Oh, no.
So if you would please for me, we go back into flashback cam, and Echo, can you describe to me like how you acquired your explosions? Like, what is
That's a bad one, isn't it?
It's a bad one, but I want to hear how you were like bamboozled into buying these explosives things super good.
So apparently I was going down to the market and I thought I was in the area where you could like buy powdered gunpowder and that kind of stuff, but it turns out I was actually in the spice market because I didn't know exactly the difference between the barrels.
Yeah.
And I just saw a red powder and I'm like, oh, that must be exactly what I'm looking for. So
Yeah.
There was a pile of curry powder
Like
with a wick in the
with a little
corner.
wick. Yeah. Yeah. And so and we see you like talking like saying like, yeah, I'm looking for some sort of fireworks, and like we see this like smooth talking businessman like cook. He's like, oh yes, fire, big fire in mouth.
I need something that's gonna go off with a bang.
Yeah, and he says, boy howdy, will it be a bang? You'll see, sir, you'll see. And so we cut back and we see this like little like packed powder keg full, and we see the wick going down, and we see like the shirred look on like you see the lampblacks in front of you, and you like kind of like smile like, yes, my distraction will go off now. And we hear from the background, you guys are like staring down at each other. It's like very intense. We hear
Oh,
My goats faint.
No,
that would be awesome.
They actually brought their own explosions.
Yeah, your goats are fucking Rambo. They're going in with like bandoliers of grenades.
Yeah. With a paint.
so was there a way that I could change that outcome, or was that is that just how?
Unfortunately, not.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got goats in the waiting.
You've got goats at the ready.
I see that didn't work. I assume the guards are just staring at me and about to, attack, right?
Oh yeah, they're like, because we're kind of going very slow, like in fiction right now, because I'm explaining stuff and we're doing flashbacks and stuff. So like, we cut back and we hear like, and they're like, we didn't think you looked like janitors.
It took you that long to figure out, huh?
I shrug. I just do that, cartoony shrug, and go, well, it was worth a shot, and I charge.
All right, you fight all these boys.
Meanwhile, I look at the rest of them and I go, really? They all look like janitors to me.
Yeah. That's like the comical cutback. Like we cut to your character saying that, and we cut to Echo like jumping into action. So, what are you fighting these guys with?
Let's see. Well, I see that I have what was it, an unusual weapon or something?
It could be. Sure.
Somebody's dentures.
Yeah, an unusual weapon. So I was thinking like maybe the tool I was using with the trying to free the cart or get it out of its location, maybe it was like this big crowbar or some sort of like pry tool.
Yeah, you could also have, because you're a cutter, you can have access to a fine hand or heavy weapon.
Okay.
So.
Well, I figured that one's already in my hand. I'll start with that and then pull out my regular weapon after.
Sure. Yeah, totally. So mark that you're using your unusual weapon in your inventory. And what I'll say is that gives you +1 effect. To like it gives you an effect tier that you are using an item. So I assume you want to skirmish with these boys?
Yes.
All right. So this is a desperate move. And because there can be some serious consequences because you're fighting 4 dudes by yourself. And this is going to be normally this would be like just going 1v4 on all of these guys, especially at your guys' level, would be limited effect. But I'll say that because you're ticking off and using a thing, it's standard effect, so you can actually like get in and like do some damage to these guys.
Okay.
So
now to interpose, just a random question.
Yeah.
In comparing this with Dungeons and Dragons, since what was your nickname again? Echo. Since Echo just jumped in to fight,
Mhm.
would we all fall into combat, or would it be normal for one of us to back her up? You know,
There's-
like in
Right.
I'm used to D&Ds where one person's in combat,
Right.
everybody's in
Right.
combat.
You roll initiative.
So there's no differentiation between in and out of combat in this
Okay.
game. It is like if you see your friend jumping into combat and you would like to like jump in also to assist them, then like by all means you can totally do that. There's not really any like turn order. It's just kind of like someone goes, then someone else goes, then someone else goes. Like we kind of
and it's like reactionary from you. Got it. Thank
exactly.
you.
Yeah, I make no rolls.
Gotcha.
Like occasionally I'll make like a luck save for like an important NPC or something like that, but like not for these guys. This is like my moves are going to be like your consequence for your skirmish is like they hurt you in response, like that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
And it's all very kind of like narrative focused. Yeah.
And then my only other question is like,
Mhm.
how common is arcane and sorcery in the world? Pretty common.
Yeah, like it's not like everyone's going around like, you know, like not everyone has just like whisper training and stuff, but like
Right.
it's
But, like,
especially common.
I wouldn't spook them out by like lighting a fire or something like, ooh, woogity, look, magic.
I mean, it depends. It depends on mostly. It depends honestly on like how well you roll. Because you would roll like an attune or something like that to like see how that goes. But then like you know, so like different characters will react to it in different ways. It's like common. It's especially common in the underworld and like the higher ends of the underworld. Like everyone like knows about like this whisper bullshit. You know, it's common enough that this like regular ass warehouse has ghost words, right? Like
Right. Okay. I got you.
yeah. So like that's a thing. So yeah. So would you like to skirmish with these gentlemen?
I would.
Yeah.
Trying to basically incapacitate them in a way that they're not able to, like, I don't know, go for their knees or something.
Sure. Yeah, totally.
Okay.
So we'll see how well you roll, and based on how well you roll is like how
And that
how
was
well
standard, right?
This is desperate because you're 1v4ing currently.
Right, but it's risky. Oh, desperate,
it's
and then
desperate standard.
control. Yeah, I've got it on desperate, and then
the effect is going to be standard effect.
there we go. Okay.
Because you're using your weapon. Yeah.
And you know what? I'll just add another stress.
Sure. Yeah, two stress for a bonus die. Totally. Let's see that hot off the press beat 'em up roll. Just hit submit. Yeah. There you go.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Oh, cool. So this is a thing, and as we get into like some of this shit, keep track of somewhere like on your character sheet or like on a separate piece of paper or something. Every time you roll a desperate action, keep track of how many desperate rolls you make. Because when we do experience at the end, you'll get experience for every desperate roll you make.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what does this? So what does this look like? We'll say with the 6 here and the standard effect, you like rush in and like you are able to like evade them and dodge them, and you're able to take out one of the 3 guys. So like, what does it look like?
So after I've shrugged and said, well, I guess that didn't work, I charge the guy, whip out the crowbar tool or whatever, and kind of do the sliding motion on my knees to kind of take out the legs of one of the guys.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I'm not full on screaming, but I am like grunting and making like
totally
intimidating
battle
noises.
grunts. Yeah, absolutely. Dope. That's like an incredibly Devil May Cry move. I'm about it. So yeah, you sweep the leg, and like one of them like goes down, and he's like,
Just
very Peter Griffin.
yeah, and you stand up, and you're kind of like staring down these other 2 guys, and they're staring at you, and it's all like.
How afraid do they look?
They don't.
Are they
look
like?
they don't look super afraid.
Oh, not at all. All right. In that case, I'm gonna move to the wagon and start like lifting it up. Like if Echo's causing the distraction, I'm getting this to the goats.
Okay.
No, I thought we were gonna bring the goats to the wagon.
That's even
Yeah.
so we have to get outside. Okay.
Yeah.
No, the goats are inside.
I thought they were outside.
The goats
They're
are
outside.
out. The goats are currently like outside, skulking around in the shadows.
Like around the corner.
Oh, I thought I said I stored the goats in the warehouse.
Oh.
Okay, so can you call them? Did you train them to a call? Are they called?
I can try to get them in there. I can finesse them.
Yeah, it's like an animal
just-
handling role.
They're just goats. Just push them. Like,
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, that's
I
not
don't know
up
how
to you
many
guys.
goats are in this world.
Someone can make a roll to summon the goats from outside.
All right, can I make a command roll and command the goats to come here?
By
I thought
all
that only
means.
works with ghosts. Is that with everyone?
Yeah, no,
Oh, okay.
a command is like an intimidation check.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I'm gonna make a command roll.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna command the goats to. I'm gonna. Did you name them?
Hmm?
Did you name your goats?
This is important.
the
Well, because if I call them by their name,
the taller one is Spruce,
okay.
and the other taller one is Ivy.
So the tall one is Spruce, but the taller one is Ivy.
No, the taller one is Spruce.
Okay,
The taller one is Ivy.
got it. Are they the
Got
same
it.
height? I hate you. Okay.
Whenever you look at one, you're like, oh yeah, that one's taller, and then the other one is slightly taller, and you're like,
Yeah. It depends on
And
like
that one's taller.
what angle you're looking at them at.
they're an optical illusion goat.
Yeah.
A goatical illusion. Anyway,
An optigoat
so-
illusion.
Spruce and
Optical-
Ivy.
What do I?
Well-
So is it? What did I just do? There we go. So is it risky?
Yeah, you're risky.
Super risky. The effect
Yeah.
is it standard?
This is standard. Yeah.
It's a standard.
You either compel these goats or you don't. Or
I'm
command
gonna
these
add
goats.
2 more stress on. I'm gonna really command them.
I love it.
I'm gonna be like Spruce, Ivy.
Get your hooved butts over here.
Oh my god, I'm killing these commands today.
Nice.
Nice.
Cool. So describe what it sounds / looks like.
So like the doors get thrown open.
Yeah.
The guards are like, "We're gonna get you." Echo's like, "All right, guys, I get one." Like jumped in there, and I was like, "All right, I'm not about to fight them, but we definitely need these goats, and we definitely need to hook this wagon up to them." So I was like, good job, Echo. Keep it up. Spruce, Ivy, cheerio. Let's go."
And they amble in like clop.
As far as like items are concerned, I probably should have done this beforehand. Is there like extra item? Could I have like a sugar cube or something? Like, let's go, come eat.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, mark off like one spot for just like myth.
Just something.
Yeah.
Yeah, an unusual weapon. Can we say that the sight of the sugar cube causes them to like ram into the guards? I'm going for that. That's what I'm going for. An unusual
Like
weapon.
a strong magnetic pull. Like
Like,
their,
they're like,
feet,
"Oh,
their little
shit!"
feet leave the ground and like are pulled.
You could make
It'd be
you could,
salt. It would be a salt lick. Actually, they climb mountains in the Himalaya to lick salt. That's not false. Look it up.
I actually, you said that with such conviction that I believe you. I mean, if you wanna make some sort of roll, so like you've got them doing that, and then
A
we'll
fortune.
say,
Can I do a fortune roll to see
Uh,
if they accidentally, like by happenstance, also take out a guard?
well, I was gonna say, Crow, do you want to roll a skill to attack because they're your goats?
Oh, there you go.
So
They're my
Crow,
goats.
they're your
Yeah, you
goats.
bought
You
'em.
you got
Yeah.
them. So do you
I
want
apparently
to?
just carry all their food.
So would it be hunt?
Sure.
All right.
You tell me what skill you want to use, and I'll tell you.
I want to. Yeah, attack with precision from a distance. Yeah.
From a distance.
So these goats are coming from a little bit away.
Yeah.
They gonna attack.
Yeah. Hunt is like the default like shoot a boy move, but
But
we
they're
can-
not
we can-
attacking from range, are they?
Yeah, no, they're
They-
up close.
No, they're coming from a way away.
Yeah, but
that's
that's not using a ranged
attack.
weapon.
They're not shooting
No,
an
but it's-
arrow.
Using a ranged goat, a free range
It's-
goat.
It's
Goat.
it's fine. I'll allow it because so what this is like 13 like calls them and they're like clip clopping on over, you know, at their own pace, and then you like as they're clip clopping over, you're like, get him. This is you trying to get them to get him.
All right. So what position is this?
This is risky standard.
All right. Risky standard.
And is
Bonus
that gonna-
die. So what's my bonus die?
Nothing unless you want to push yourself.
Yeah, let's push these gods.
Alright, so take 2 stress to push the goat.
Yep.
Now, the risky standard, is that like the set default unless you tell us otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you every time.
Okay.
But if at any point I like forget. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So your goats totally. What does it look like when your goats like trample over a guy? Like, what do you like?
So-
What does Crow do? And like, what happens?
So I imagine that Crow is standing in the background right now. He's just assessing the situation, and he hears 13 call out the goats' names, and they're moving way too slow. I'm like, I taught you better, and I just do like a nice high pitched like whistle. I make eye contact and then a head nod, and then they just like both like kick the ground and just bolt. And they bolt in a straight line because that's the fastest between 2 points. It's a straight line, and it just so happens to take out a fucking guy's knee.
There's a guy, yeah. And so what happens is actually like you do that, and the camera cuts, and we go back to Undertow. Is it Undertow? No, it's Echo. Echo who's fighting the guys. I'll get the names, I swear.
That's all right. We're still learning them too.
Yeah. So we cut back to like this epic fight scene of Echo like dodging and weaving and like getting in like pot shots, and it's like the like the cool fight choreography of this episode budget like went to this kind of like scene, and like we see this one guy kind of like back up, and he's like trying to get a beat on the situation. It's like very tense. It's like very tight in camera angle, and like the score's all like and we just see 2 goats come in from out of frame and just fucking take this guy off his feet.
So like one of them takes his knees out, and then when he's on the ground, the other one just smashes into his face.
Over him. Excellent.
Yeah,
totally
Clotheslines him.
Fucking
Bruce and Ivy.
Fantastic. Your assassin goats were really worth whatever you paid for them. Now, can we get them hooked up to the wagon, please? We're on a kind of a time.
Yeah.
So, how many dudes are there left?
There are 2 dudes left.
Okay.
Would you like to get in on this?
I would like to.
You want to cane sword someone?
Well, I don't know. So they're distracted. Are they both grappling with Echo, or just?
Yeah, they're like kind of like generally like occupied. Like Echo's like 2v1ing them right now. It's very cool.
So
I'm trying to keep their gaze on me.
Good. So that's good for me.
Overpowering.
Yeah.
So what I was gonna try to do is see if I can maybe, if they have like a gun or something on them, I can like grab it out of their pocket or something, and maybe assist.
So I don't think these guys have guns on them, because if they had them, they'd be using them.
Okay.
Like these guys are like the default type of goon that have like the like blackjacks and the clubs and stuff. You guys haven't gotten to gun goons yet. That's in the 2nd level.
Got you. I didn't realize there were levels for guns.
I'm tired of just bullshitting that up. But yeah, these goons don't have like guns on them.
Okay.
But you could have a gun on you. You could just like check an inventory slot and say like, I have a gun on me. I want to shoot him.
Yeah. All right. I mean, all right.
Or you could do something else. You can do whatever you want.
No, that's fine. I mostly just wanted to like distract them and try to intimidate them to like leave us alone, but I don't know if that's gonna happen, so I can shoot them.
Yeah, I mean you could try to intimidate them. You could try to like say something or do something to like distract or intimidate them, and that could give,
if I can have a gun on me, I'd like to hold it to them and just say, gentlemen, please, this is we really don't need to be doing this right now.
Yeah, you could totally do that, and then if you succeed on the roll, like the next person who attacks gets like a boost or something like that.
Sweet.
Like, yeah, you can totally do that.
Can I assist her by just like holding like some like arcane implement and like making it glow and all menacingly like, don't do it, boys.
This is the perfect moment for me to pop up a little tutorial message again and tell you guys about how you can assist each other. So if you want to assist each other with a roll, you can give someone a bonus dice if you describe yourself helping and take 1 stress.
Oh, done. I'll give you a bonus dice and I'll do that
Sweet.
right now.
Yeah.
So I'll take 1 stress. And yeah, just like I'm
Yeah.
assuming that I took a normal load.
Yeah, you can take whatever. You can pick it. So.
All right, I'll just do normal load for now. And I have something called an arcane implement. I'm gonna assume that that's like an orb that I can just like use a tune to like mindlessly pull colors through or something, so it like glows or radiates different colors. But it takes like no energy to do, which is like
it's
basically a cantrip.
It's your thaumaturgy orb.
It's I am no conjurer of cheap tricks when it's just like 3 basic cantrips over and over.
Yeah, totally.
It's like,
so
also, like I just make the shadows kind of bend to make them like deepen a little bit, and I'm like,
totally. We like put a slightly different filter on the shot to make it look spookier.
Question: can I roll sway for this? Or
yes.
is this a command roll?
You tell me. I think either is possible. It feels more like a command to me, just because it's like everything's a little bit more heightened right now.
Okay.
So it depends on how, like, are you like commanding them like, oh, like don't go anywhere near us, or are you like calmly just like, now guys, let's be reasonable here.
No, I'm not asking them to be reasonable. I am trying to threaten them.
Okay. So sounds like a command. And you get so it's risky, standard, and you get a bonus die.
I get a bonus die. So what I'm gonna do is actually I'm gonna use Rook's Gambit for this.
Okay.
Because I want to be calm, but like bizarrely calm.
Sure.
Like I want to be like, you're really no threat to us. We will absolutely hurt you. And then all this magic is behind me and everything like that. So
yeah.
So I am going to use that. So how do I? So it says
you take
roll.
You take 2 stress to use it, right?
Yep, I took 2 stress.
And then you so basically what it says is like it does exactly what it says. So you can say, let's say that you are like commanding these guys right now. You just take 2 stress and you say to me, I'm using Rook's Gambit and I'm going to use this skill instead. And then you describe like how it looks, how you're using that skill instead. So like yeah. Also, so if you click the little bell underneath your skills, it links it in chat automatically. Isn't that neat?
Neat.
So everyone can see what you're doing.
So I can use sway instead of command for this. Correct?
Yes.
So I would just roll sway.
Yes.
Okay.
With a bonus die.
With a bonus die. Is this risky and...
Risky standard, yeah.
Okay. 1 bonus die.
Okay. So
not great.
Well, so you get a 4, so you succeed. So what that means is the next person who like takes an action against these guys will have a bonus die.
Okay.
Are like automatically. The consequence here is that one of them kind of like looks to you and says like, "Oi, I don't think you're going to use that," and like runs up and attacks you, and you're going to take level 1 bludgeoning harm.
Where does that go?
Yeah, so let's talk about harm and how that works. So harm is a thing that you guys can get as a consequence, and it basically is how hurt your character is, and there are different like negative penalties based on that. So you guys can see the harm boxes that are underneath your stress. The level 1, you can have 2 different level 1 harms at any given time, and when you have level 1 harm, your rolls will have less effect than usual. So whatever effect I tell you, it'll be 1 less than that. So like if I say something is standard because you're harmed, it's limited. If you have a level 2 harm, which you can again have 2 different ones, you get -1 die. So like if you were to make a sway roll while you had a level 2 harm, you would actually only roll 1 dice unless you had some sort of bonus on it. Level 3 is like the equivalent of like in D&D you'd be making death saves at level 3 harm. And like you would like need medical attention. You're essentially incapacitated. And level 4 harm is you're fucking dead.
Okay.
Got it.
So what do I write in the level 1 harm?
You would just you could just write like level 1 harm like clubbed because this guy's just coming up with a club and smacking you as a response. Or remember, at any point you can resist any of these consequences. So if you want to resist getting your level 1 harm, you can do that.
Okay, and I'm sorry, how do I do that again? I forgot already.
Since you rolled sway, you would click on resolve and it'd be a resolve resist. So you would roll and you would take six minus the highest roll in stress to resist. But you would like be like, I get out of the way at the last minute or something like that.
Okay. So I would roll resolve.
Yeah.
And take 6 minus my. All right, I'll try it.
Okay. Cool.
And I have no bonus dice, right?
Nope. All right. So you roll a 6.
Yes!
For no stress, you duck out of. What do you do? Do you like duck out of the way at the last minute or? Like,
oh yeah. If he's coming at me with a club, I am just going to I'm going to twist out of the way and pick his pocket while I do it.
Okay. You find like a quarter or something. Nothing of consequence.
All right.
We'll talk about how currency in this game works later. It's also a system I really like.
Sweet.
Cool. Yeah. So you resist getting that harm.
Awesome.
So
could I have my bird do something?
You could. What would you like to do?
Well, I want them to be distracted while I go and help 13 get the goats set up.
Sure.
Because
they're already distracted, so you're in a
good well,
position.
Am I gonna draw attention to myself if I leave? Because I'm like kind of standing behind them right now, but I want to like leave to go towards the cart.
Depends on how well you roll.
On what?
On whatever you're going to roll to like help.
I'm slinking away.
Yeah. So at this point, the goats are with you. So I assume the next step for you and 13 is probably like hooking up these goats and hitching them to the cart and everything.
Yeah.
So if you want to go and like be doing that, you totally can. Like
okay.
The camera cuts to like you and 13 like hitching these goats together, and I'll have you make a roll. Based on that roll, like one of the consequences could be you attract attention of this guy or whatever, you know.
Okay, so let's do that. So let's get these goats done. Are you gonna help me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what are you rolling to get these goats set up? This could be like a tinker or a finesse roll maybe.
I don't have any dots in either of those.
Me neither.
So you can. This is another thing. It's like a little mini tutorial pops up saying you can roll for anything even if you don't have a dice in it. If you roll for something you don't have dice in, you roll 2d6 and take the lowest. So
okay.
It's like disadvantage, but you still have like a 50-50 shot to succeed.
Okay. Let's do tinker.
So then if somebody assisted, they would just roll the 1 die. Correct. Or would they get... Okay.
Correct.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to tinker, and he's helping. Right?
How much stress is too much stress?
That's an excellent question.
That's a very personal question. It depends on who you are as a person.
Well, I'm pretty stressed, guys.
Okay. Okay. So what's my position right now?
This is risky.
Okay.
Standard effect. Yeah.
Standard.
You'll notice
that
risky stand. You get 1 bonus. Are you helping? 13? No. Okay, so you don't get any.
Are you just standing while I hitch these goats?
Well, no, I stopped doing it to be all intimidating for Undertow.
Yeah, totally.
I stepped away and I was all like, woogity, 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 look at my magic.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so 2d6 take the lowest. You can still succeed. Right. There's still a pretty decent chance that you succeed. All right, so you get a 3.
Oh, cool.
So you still succeed, but you succeed. So here's what happens. So we cut over and we see you kind of like hitching up these goats, and it's like a goat hitching montage. I assume that you've hitched goats to wagons before, so you like kind of know what you're doing. And as you do, the screaming that has just kind of been like ever present this entire time of like the freed banshee we like kind of like cut into the ghost field a little bit, and we get like that kind of like inverted camera thing, and we see it kind of like as it's freed, and it kind of like spreads, and it's got these like, you know, like really like long thin limbs, and like these long spindly fingers with like weird claws on them, because this is a feral ghost. This isn't like the kind of ghost that you can like talk to and like, you know, is like the like, oh, I died because of this, please reconcile my
These aren't the posh upper crust ghosts.
This is like so a bit of lore. If a ghost stays on this plane for too long, it can go one of two ways, and one of the ways that it goes is it becomes feral, which is what this is. And so this ghost that has been kind of just like running around and out of control for a while, kind of like sees the goats and sees you, and runs down, and it takes a swipe at you, and we see it take a swipe at you on the ghost field, and we cut back to the regular, like the physical material plane, and we don't see the ghost there, but we know that it's there, and we see across your shoulder like these like burns kind of like appearing in the shape of like claw marks on your shoulder, and you take level 1 harm ghost burn.
Oh my god.
Unless you would like to resist it.
Let's resist this shit. What am I doing? I'm doing prowess?
This would be because you tinkered.
I used
right?
finesse.
So,
or I used tinker.
Yeah. So this would be an insight resist, actually.
Insight resist. All right. Any bonus die?
Nope. So
Can I add bonus die?
You could if you want to like stress yourself out for it.
Is it 2 stress?
It's 2 stress for a bonus die.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
I got some stress.
Stress away the pain.
Yeah, stress for this roll so that you get more stress.
Mm.
Nice.
All right, you roll a 6. So
Nice.
so with 0 stress, so we see like the ghost kind of like go towards you, and what is it that stops this ghost from attacking you?
It's not me dodging the ghost. It's the ghost stops and doesn't attack, right?
You tell me.
So
I just assume because you can't see it, so it would be kind of hard to dodge what you can't see, unless you like move in a very lucky way at the last minute or something.
So I like the thought that like animals can sense things that we can't. So
Okay.
as
yeah.
attuned I might be to my surroundings, being
Yeah.
like kind of a bounty hunter and being in the military, I'm hitching up these goats, and then
you
all
hear
of a sudden
them kind
they
of start
go
freaking out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
they go absolutely still and start moving away, and like as they're moving away, I have to like go after them out of this ghost swipe.
Totally. That's awesome. Yeah. Hell yeah. Perfect.
So I don't know anything's wrong, but these goats absolutely know.
Right. So it'll take you another minute in like another like little bit of time in fiction, but the goats will be perfectly hitched up, and this wagon will be ready to go very soon as you like finish doing it.
Cool.
Nice work.
So how many guards are we? Still have 2.
There's still the 2, and I was just gonna come back to you, Echo, because we've got the cool like high budget fight choreography going on over here. So would you like to fight more of these boys?
I sure would.
All right.
I'm already got the adrenaline going, and I've taken one down, and I want to kind of like do a battle pirouette and take my crowbar and kind of like swing in a circle and try and get the other one like right smack in the chest.
Can I give her a bonus die?
Yeah, for helping. Like
by distracting them.
Well, these guys actually, you already did that because you used.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Never mind.
So there's actually already a bonus die.
That's right.
So this is another. So it was desperate when you were like fighting all of these guys, but now you're kind of like, because one of them peeled away to hit Undertow, so you're actually just kind of like 1v1ing this guy right now. So it's risky standard.
Risky standard.
Yeah.
With a bonus die.
And you have 1 bonus die from the assist from before.
So 2 or just +1?
Just +1.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. So you succeed, but with a consequence. So this is like the standard kind of thing. You take this guy out, but you suffer some harm in doing so. So why don't you describe how you take this guy out, and I'll describe how you take harm.
So like maybe as I was doing the pirouette, I hit him, and I hit him hard enough, but I hit like a piece of his armor or something that ricochets, and the weapon hits me back as it's coming back.
Yeah, totally.
And
so
kind of knocks me off.
Yeah, so you take him out, and your crowbar kind of like bounces off and like smacks you.
Does that cartoon twang?
Yeah, and so you'll take a level 1 harm concussion.
Okay.
Unless you would like to resist it.
I'll give it a shot at resisting.
Okay. So this would be a prowess resist.
What?
So you click on prowess, and you're resisting with your prowess to resist the consequence.
Prowess, where is that?
It's in your rolls. It's above, right above skirmish.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
No bonus dice or anything.
And so I ticked off a prowess, and then what?
Oh no, that's not what you do. You roll it. So you actually like click on prowess.
I got it. And no bonus, just
correct. Yeah. All right, so you take 2 stress, but you resist the consequence.
Sweet.
So the crowbar is like bouncing back towards your head, and like at the last minute you're like, ugh, fuck. And you take this guy out. So now there's 1 guy left. It's at this point, I think, that you guys start to hear in the distance. You start to hear the this world's equivalent of police sirens, and we cut over to a wagon pulled by two armored goats, and driving
that are just screaming,
and
just screaming goats,
and on it. God damn it!
That's the alarm. That's the police siren.
And we see driving it this guy with like a police hat on, and he's got a long,
just another goat.
He's got a long blue trench coat on, and this is the police force of Duskwall, the Bluecoats. And they've heard that there's a commotion down at the docks, and they're on their way to check it out. And so
okay, now might be the worst time to tell you all that I'm undocumented. So we really have to get going.
I think it's a little too late to get going.
My parents didn't do that when I was born either.
No, that's unvaccinated. I don't have time to explain this for the 3rd time tonight.
Epic chase scene?
Epic chase scene.
Run away!
Yeah. So you've got 1 guy left to deal with. You've got the goats hitched up and ready. So
Can I did I already ask if I can make a command on the ghost?
Yeah.
Can I try to scare it away? I know I can't command it to fight for us, but can I try to like make it flee?
Yeah, you can make like an attune roll to like kind of like repel it.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I repel it towards the police? Can I like angle my? Can I sense where it is?
How it depends on how well you roll.
All right. Do I have to make separate rolls to sense it and to repel it?
No, so like we're gonna make we'll make the roll, and if you do super well, then you can repel it in the direction. Well, if you succeed, we'll make a fortune roll for like where you repel it to.
But I specifically don't want to repel it into a teammate.
Right.
But I guess we'll have to roll decide that.
Well, like no, it'll be we'll make a fortune roll to see if you roll it it goes in the direction you want, or like off in a narratively harmless direction. But you have to succeed on this attune roll.
On this attune roll first, yeah.
When we're done with this, I'm strapping the goats to me to like sense sense ghosts around me.
Does anyone want to assist me?
With what? What are you doing again?
He's trying to deal with the ghost. The
repel the because it's just standing there screaming.
I feel as though it would be narratively difficult to explain how we would help scare away a ghost. It's screaming intensely.
You got it. That's fine. I'll do it. I'll stress myself some more.
I believe in you. Oh, actually, hold on. Before you take that stress, let me tell you about another mechanic in this game that I also
stress. I can't unstress myself.
You can unstress yourself. Just click.
It worked. Okay, I did it.
Yeah. Let me tell you about a thing called a devil's bargain. So
I'm listening.
so if I or any of the other players have a cool narrative consequence, you could take a devil's bargain, which will give you a bonus die on your roll for no stress, but the consequence of the devil's bargain will definitely happen no matter what. You can resist the consequence from the die roll if you like fail the actual ability check, but the devil's bargain consequence will happen for sure.
So what are the consequences?
So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna offer you a devil's bargain now. So I'll say I'll say that you can have a bonus die to repelling this ghost. But in doing so, this feral ghost is going to mark or remember you somehow. And
oh wow.
It can lead to some like narrative, so like some like shit to happen like later on.
Can I remember it?
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
you can.
How good is your memory?
But if I'm repelling it, it's gonna be like, I'll remember you, and I'll be like, but you in hell.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so that's what it
we'll
is.
do
like,
this at a better time.
You can have a bonus die, but like the devil's bargain is like in doing this like repelling of the attune, you like have that moment where like you like it like locks on it like locks...
it's like I'll see it's like the Uma Thurman Kill Bill Volume 2.
Yep.
She kills Vivi. Yeah. All right.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you would like a bonus die, yeah.
Shit.
Okay.
You were being used as an
We believe in you.
All right, so you get a bonus die for this attune.
All right, so attune. Risky standard, or is it higher?
This is gonna be desperate.
Ooh.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Bonus die.
Which again, remember your desperate actions because you get experience for them at the end. All right. So here's what happens. So describe to me like what it looks like when we kind of like your eyes go like all weird and we shift into weird ghost field vision where all the colors are inverted again, and like what do you do that like repels this ghost?
So yeah, like my eyes glow. I kind of put out my arms and my entire body starts to like shine, I guess, like glow slightly, and like little pebbles on the ground start to lift off the ground from just like magnetic. And I'm just kind of like, bye, Felicia. And there's just like this blast of like force that comes off of me, like this wave.
Yeah, so
that nobody sees because it goes to like
it's all
the ghost. So everyone just sees me kind of go.
For 1 second, that ghost is like, my real name.
We all feel a little bit of a shudder, like
one must not speak a wizard's true name. And you do that, and it kind of like it like gets like kind of repelled back like angrily, and it like looks at you, and we get like the shot, like the overhead shot of it looking at you and kind of like really looking at you for the first time, like okay, I know you're a spooky ghost like fucker or whatever, but like now I'm like looking at you, you know, like and so like but the consequence here, so the consequence for the die roll is that as it's leaving, it's going to come in for a swing at you, and you're gonna get level 2 harm ghost burn.
Whoa.
And I can't resist that, right?
You can if you want. You can't resist the devil's bargain consequence. You can resist this consequence.
Oh, okay. So the devil's bargain consequence hasn't happened.
The devil's bargain consequence will. I'm putting. You could say that I'm putting that in my back pocket for a later date, my friend.
I feel you now.
I've got one in the bank. Which, as a fellow GM, I think you know what that means.
I do. I understand, and am terrified.
So
it's a resolve check.
Resist.
To resist to resist the harm. Yeah.
Got it. So resolve.
If
bonus die? No.
Okay, so you take 1 stress.
All right.
Nice.
How you doing there, bud?
It hits me. I feel like its hand goes through,
yeah.
And I kind of, as it's face to face with me, I kind of whisper, "Yeah, fuck you."
Oh, he's gonna remember that.
Yeah, and that's the moment. Like that's the consequence of the devil's bargain.
I just want to like whisper like super sweetly like,
Yeah.
I got you, Felicia.
Yeah, and and as that happens, your wave of energy repels the ghost and Felicia the ghost flings off.
Felicia the ghost. I'm adding her right now as an enemy.
It's awesome.
All right, could I board this wagon
add it to your notes
and like send these goats and this wagon out at this last guy?
Yeah, totally. You want to drive the wagon to the last guy?
But,
if you guys are getting on the wagon, I want to try and like position the guy, like grapple him to the side so you guys can run him over, and I can jump on the cart as you guys run him.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh no, I'm not getting on the wagon and like letting anybody know. I'm like, you got feet. Like this wagon needs to move. This is our mission. Like this wagon.
Yeah, but if you wanna do that, Echo, you could totally do like you could roll an ability check as a setup. Like you can make a roll that's like a setup roll to like give Crow like a bonus die to that actual attack.
Yeah, like to put the guy in the cart's way.
Yeah, and this isn't necessarily you guys communicating. It's just like
I see that what she's trying to do, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm on the same page.
Like awareness, yeah, totally.
All right. So, what am I using?
Well, so first, Echo's gonna make a roll. So what?
Oh,
What roll are you gonna use? And if you succeed on this roll, then you successfully set up the action.
I guess it would be skirmish because I'm grappling with the.
Totally. Okay.
That'd be, risky.
Yeah. So this is risky standard right now.
Okay.
No bonus die. Unless you would like to either stress yourself out, or I have a devil's bargain if you would like to hear it.
I think I'm just gonna do it.
To be fair, you can hear the devil's bargain and choose not to accept it if you would like.
Ooh.
Okay,
that's how the devil wins that.
I will hear it.
All right, the devil's bargain is, I feel, obviously, you get this guy in position to be in front of the cart, but then you also are in front of the cart.
I figured that's what it was gonna be.
So, you can choose whether or not you want to take that. That's on you.
That's a really tough call.
That's what I'm here for.
You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna take it.
Yeah,
that's what I like to hear.
I'm doing everything that I wouldn't normally do in any other campaign. I'm being the opposite anti-me. So yes, go for it.
Yep. Totally.
So I get an extra die?
Yeah, you get a bonus die. For free.
Nice.
For free.
Well, not for free. I mean...
it's not for free.
It's the devil's bargain, my dear.
In this current exact moment that we are in right now, it is free. All right, so you get a 4, so you succeed, but there's a consequence. So we kind of like cut back to like a low depth of field shot of you kind of like beating this guy back, and you like see the wagon, and you kind of like are kind of like scuffling, and you position him in the way of the wagon, and then
it's kind of like fisticuffs, like with Indiana Jones and the guy being backed up into the plane blades, kind of like that.
Yeah, totally.
Only this time I'm kind of in the way.
Good reference.
Totally. Yeah, that's real good. So you do that, and then
you can see the goat headlights.
Growing, holding candles in their mouths. Like...
No, they have handles. They have helmets with little candles on their but so like as you do, you kind of like are using your crowbar to like get this guy where you are, and then you go to like swing, and he grabs the crowbar and like kind of like judo flips you, and now you're like on the ground, and you're gonna take a level 1 harm like thrown on the ground. That's the consequence of the actual roll, which you can resist, but you can't resist being in the way of the
right. That's fine. So, but I can roll to like, or I can roll out of the way, or like guard myself from the
One would assume that that's what you do. I assume you don't just want to get trampled by goats.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Hell of a way to end session 1.
and that's resolve.
And then she died.
What's
Or
your
prowess.
Prowess, yeah, because it's a skirmish. All right, so you take 1 stress to resist.
No.
So you go, and as he's trying to like judo flip you on the ground, you actually judo flip him. You counter judo flip him, and he's on the ground. Got him. Yeah. Undertow, what have you been doing this whole time? We haven't heard from you in a little while.
So I actually wanted to ask if I could do a flashback.
By all means.
What I wanted to do. There's a cop here, right?
There's a cop on the way.
Oh, on the way. I thought there was a cop here already.
You could say that there is a cop, a blue coat squad that may or may not be 1 tick away. If you had to like put it into a multi-segmented clock.
So what I had wanted to do was potentially have I don't know if this would work. This might be too far-fetched. I wanted to have basically either bribed this guy or gotten this cop on my side so that he would not pin us for anything in advance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no,
yeah.
This is the kind of shit that like this kind of shit happens in the underworld of Duskfall like all the fucking time. Like there are just like dirty cops all over the place, and you could totally be like, hey, you might get a call about like some shit going on at the docks like a little bit late in like a night or two. Just want to let you know that like if you could like look the other way, that'd be great, you know.
Or just, like, if I'm there, just kind of like, me and my friends were just gonna be
So this will be we'll make a roll to see how this like transaction sort of went.
Okay.
And we'll say that this is a 1 stress flashback because again, I don't think it's that far fetched that you guys like bribed the cops in advance. That's like
sweet,
a reasonable thing.
So I got a stress. I take a stress and then I just roll.
What do you want?
Whatever.
Do you want to roll like consort is generally like talk to people, like you could like sway, like whatever you want to do.
I want to have.
Actually, this is just a fortune roll. Just make a fortune roll.
Just a fortune? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Still one dice fortune roll. That's what I'm having
1 die.
everyone make. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get into the mechanics of like how the amount of dice in a fortune roll is determined a little bit later, but for now we're just kind of defaulting to 1.
And I can't take stress to increase my dice, right?
Not for this, no.
Damn it.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Hold on.
Am good cop driver? Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So you get above average. So we get a quick like kind of like flashback cut, which again is on our flashback filter.
Yeah.
And we see you kind of like talking, and there's no real dialogue. It's just one of those like you could see them talking, but you can't hear what they're saying kind of flashbacks. And we cut back to the cop who's driving the goat wagon, the police wagon, towards you, and we see that it's the same guy from that flashback, and we see him like kind of like slow the goat cart down a bit and like kind of like duck it down like a street away from like where we would assume you guys are narratively.
Sweet.
And so what I'll say is that gives you I'm gonna take 2 ticks off of the clock for the like blue coats showing up. So it's like he can't make it so that the blue coats never show up, but he's like buying you time.
Awesome.
He'll like tell his like squad commander later, oh yeah, so like we weren't sure exactly where they were. We accidentally like we thought it was this warehouse, but it was the other one. Like obviously he knew, but he was just like he's like bullshitting him.
I really owe him one later.
Yeah, I mean all this shit is just going in my back pocket for later. See, this is why I don't need to do prep, because like we do this shit. And now I've got all of this stuff for
backstory.
We're writing your prep for you.
Exactly. Thanks, guys. So we see that, and then do you want to just do you get on the cart with
Sure. Yeah, I'm gonna just jump on. Actually, should I get on the ship and prepare it?
Well, like you have to. I would presume you'd have to drive the cart to the ship. even if it's not that far away.
Oh,
Like,
okay. Yeah, then I'll get on the cart.
Just
Yeah.
down the dock.
Presumably the ship is like already kind of prepared, like knowing what's going
Cool.
on. Yeah.
The getaway ship.
Yeah.
Getaway pontoon.
Yeah, totally. And so so you jump on the cart, and then
So now Echo and the guard are right in front of the cart, or are we already going?
Echo and the guard are like in the cart's line of sight, and the cart is now starting to like go. So
I've pushed the guard into the path of the cart, and I've
Right.
just barely rolled out of the.
well, you're still in the way of the cart. We're gonna get to that in a second. You resisted being harmed by the guard in doing so. But the devil's bargain is still very much in play, and we're gonna get to that in a second here. But 13, do you just jump on the cart also, or is there anything you want to do?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I jump on the cart, but then, like, more importantly, Echo, we've got to go.
Yep, it's gonna be. It's
Is
gonna
this
be
how
one of
it's gonna
those-
be the whole
Yeah.
campaign?
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
gonna be one of those.
Better be.
We're
Yeah.
gonna use
Better be.
skirmish
All
to
the bad
push him off the cart.
Yeah. You skirmish to push him off the cart. A random quick aside, when I did the one session of or the 2 sessions of a Ravnica campaign that I started, 2 of my players were Simic hybrids, which are like weird crosses between like elves and like fish people. And I gave my players a cap of they could make 2 fish puns per episode, because if not, it would just get out of control. Anyways, jumping back in. So you jump on the cart and tell Echo and Crow. I assume you're driving the cart.
Yeah, these is my goats.
All right. What would you like to roll to drive the cart into this man?
So let's use wreck.
You're gonna wreck it.
I'm gonna wreck it.
I'm gonna wreck it. And I
Alright.
get a bonus die because she helped,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Alright. So wreck. Is this
So
risky?
This
Or-
is
I set up the bowling pin for
Yeah,
you. Now
this
knock
is-
him down.
This is risky. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was hoping it would be desperate.
You're not
standard.
at a point where you could like take serious harm.
Okay, that makes sense.
There will be a desperate roll in a second, but it's going to be Echo rolling that desperate roll.
Alright.
So yeah, go ahead.
Oh.
All right.
Ooh.
Cool. So,
Wait, but I had a bonus die. What does that mean?
you did. Did you have anything in rec?
No.
So the fact that if you had nothing in rec, then you would roll 2 dice and take the lower. But because
Okay.
you had a bonus die, you got to roll 1 instead of
Oh, okay.
just the 2.
Well, I did it.
Yeah. Well,
We'll see.
with a 1, you actually don't do it.
Does the cart just stop?
No, you're going, but the guy manages to roll out of the way. So
Okay.
But now what I need is Echo. I need you to make a roll. So what we see like right before you make this roll is you like, yeah, get up, come on, let's go, goats, and like you're like, yeah, gonna hit him, and then he rolls out of the way, and we see you like kind of make like the angry, frustrated face, and then you see Echo like right in front of you as you're barreling through with these goats, and we see your eyes go wide. And Echo, what do you do to get out of the way?
I'm trying to think. Is there like how tall is the cart? Is there space underneath? Like is it like wagon wheels where there's like space underneath? Like maybe I can flatten myself underneath it.
It depends on how well you roll.
And like, are you gonna hop over the goats? Or are you gonna flatten yourself pre-goats?
How well can pangolins jump?
I just have pangolin scales. I'm not. I'm not necessarily one of those.
White penguins can't jump.
Let's see. What do I have? Let's see. I got some climbing gear. I could try and
That's like pythons for like climbing, scaling the side of a building.
Oh, so I can't like lasso the cart and jump on.
Not quite. You could like make some sort of move to do a cool flip onto the cart. Totally. That's like within your wheelhouse.
I think that's a good idea. I'm gonna try and do like some sort of fancy like side flip to land on like the side of the cart and hold on.
All right. What would you like to roll to do that?
I guess would that be skirmish?
Skirmish. If you want to punch the goat, then you could skirmish.
No.
Punch the goat.
You could punch the goats out of the way.
No, then we have dead goats.
You would have You might have harmed goats depending on how you roll. You could like roll like a survey. I'm just looking at your thing.
Yeah.
You could like roll a survey to like find a spot to like move away from. Oh no, we lost Simone.
Her screen was a little frozen, I think.
Yeah, she might be.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Take a quick glance around to see if there's like an open spot that I can like move, bound out of the way.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
So yeah, you could totally do that if you would like.
That's what, risky?
Okay.
Yeah. Welcome back, Simone.
Sorry, my internet just crashed, so I'm using my phone.
Yikes.
Boy.
Yeah. So we're just gonna put that over here.
Yeah.
All right.
Could you put your phone in portrait view for me? Is that possible?
Huh?
Is it possible for you to put your phone in portrait for me? Perfect. Thank you. Because that way the frame doesn't get all screwy. And then just angle it a bit so we can see your lovely face. There we go. Yeah. There it is.
I was like,
there we go.
Angle it so we could see your lovely face, and it came up on you like this.
And you rolled a 6. Nice job.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, this was desperate, by the way. I didn't get a chance to tell you because we were doing phone.
Let me add that to the list.
Yeah, yeah, you're doing a good job of putting yourself in desperate positions.
I'm clearly putting myself at risk a lot.
Right. Which is badass. But yeah, so you find the right spot, and we get this cool shot, like stunt shot of you like rolling out of the way at their perfect time as the thing like, and it's totally like Crow, like you think that you trampled Echo. like it looks like you did, and like from the audience's perspective it looks like she got like trampled, and then
like you see the cloud of dust, and then all of a sudden you see me like Legolas jump onto the back of the cart like, hey guys.
Yeah, totally.
For half a second I try to rack through my brain. I'm like, did she have money out on her?
Yes.
I don't know. Echo, do you have a bounty on your head?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Those might be questions we have to answer about our characters later.
Look at that! I'm back online!
Yay!
Hey! Welcome back.
Oh my god.
Cool.
So
what are you guys looking flabbergasted? Keep going. Yeah. We need to get out of here.
I'm just kind of like, you heard the pangolin, let's go.
Dope. So let's do, so this will be our final tutorial of the night. And let's talk about group actions.
Ooh, orgies.
So a group action happens when you all roll the same thing in an attempt to like all kind of like do a thing at the same time. So like,
ooh, I like that.
So like everyone can prowl, or everyone can like skirmish together or whatever. The way that it works is one person chooses to be the leader and lead the action. It does not matter whether or not they actually have skill in the ability. You can still lead the action no matter what. And then everybody rolls that thing, and then whatever amongst the group, whoever gets the highest roll, everyone uses that roll. So like, let's say you're trying to make like a group like prowl check to like sneak away or sneak through something. If one person rolls a 6, everybody succeeds with no consequence. But the person who leads the group action takes 1 stress for each person who fails.
Oh boy.
Okay.
So that's a thing that you guys could do to like exit the scene and like get away to your
All right.
Well, I'm sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, go ahead.
If we're going to my ship, I don't mind being the leader here.
Okay.
And
What,
taking the stress.
what are we gonna use?
Yeah, what action would you like to?
So are we?
I say finesse
We
because
can do finesse.
we're not sneaking away at this point. I mean,
No.
This is like
we'll know
this
if
is
something happened. It's too late to go. "Ooh."
Yeah.
Like,
This is and this is kind of like the like final kind of shot of like of like Undertow giving you directions of where to go, and like Crow like driving, and like Echo
Treading
and
the needle
13
of the
kind of
final
like looking
gauntlet.
at
Yeah.
doing stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Stop,
I think
stop.
finesse
Left
is
here.
good
No,
for, like,
right, stop.
it makes that nice final image of like one person leading,
Yeah.
one person directing,
Exactly.
one person jumping onto the back, and me sitting in the back just like reading a book. Just like, oh.
Right. yeah, totally. So yeah, you want to make a group finesse action to just like
Okay.
escape, and this will be the
So
this will
what
be
do we
the end of the score.
We all just roll finesse.
Yeah. So
Now, if I have
everyone-
nothing in it, am I rolling with like a bonus die to just get the 1?
Nope.
No, it's
it'll
still just-
it'll automatically roll 2d6, and yeah. And we'll call this as you guys are all leaving. This is a desperate action. So you're desperately trying to like flee the scene and make it to the ship in time.
And standard effect.
Yeah. You either succeed or you don't. So
No bonus dice.
anyone individually can make
Well-
could use bonus die if you want.
I just rolled and I got a 6, so
Yeah. So normally before all the rolls actually happen, you would determine.
Oh, I got a 5.
Yeah.
You got a 3?
You got a 4, Eric.
You got a 4.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a 4. Yeah, I take the lower of the 2.
Cool. So because Echo rolled a 2, Marissa, you take 1 stress.
okay.
But because you rolled a 6, that means that everyone gets away. So I think our kind of like final shot of the session is exactly, Eric, what you were describing, like Marissa Undertow kind of like describing like what to do and like where to go and all that, and Crow, we like get the shot of you like driving and controlling the goats and everything, and then we get like the shot of like Echo and 13, like what are you guys all doing? Like we get the montage is like one final shot on each of you.
I imagine I'm like holding Echo because I'm like I won't. We think you have money.
Okay.
I'm like I'm like one-handed holding onto the cart, like doing the cartoon, like my foot is running with the cart on the ground, like trying to catch up, like
Right.
trying to get
And I'm just like, don't worry, that jump was sick as fuck. You did so good.
You did so good.
I want like one like closing, but not final, but like one shot where like my bird finally comes in and lands, and it has the eyeball, and we know that that's one of the eyeballs of the guards. Like,
Nice.
yes.
Hell yeah.
souvenir.
The sick as fuck. What's the last shot? What's the last shot of Undertow that we see?
So I assume we make it to the boat, the ship. I'm going to I guess there's like a ramp or whatever prepared so that we can just
we see you like make it to the gangplank or whatever it's called.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna like lift up the platform and pull the rope off my ship and head towards the steering.
Yeah.
What is it called? The steering wheel.
Totally. Yeah, so like the last thing we see is like the cart kind of like rolls up the gangplank and is like on the ship, and we see everyone kind of like get off, and we see you and like probably like one of your sailors like pulling the thing up, and the last shot that we see is the gangplank kind of like flipping up, and it flips up like into the camera and it cuts to black.
Sweet.
And that's our first session.
That was cool.
Awesome. You guys did it.
Yay.
Great
Yay.
job.
Yay!
That was super
Thank
fun.
you.
Good
Yeah.
team.
That was a lot of fun,
That
actually.
was awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome. So do you guys have, I know it's like a little bit later than 10, but do you guys have like a couple of extra minutes to go over how to do experience, or do you want to do it now?
Oh yeah, of course.
Sure.
Oh, it's-
All right, cool. So the way that you get experience in this game is if you look underneath your special abilities tab, there is a Mark XP thing, which we're gonna now go over each of you individually. But what I want to, before we go over it, I want to tell you what you can put experience points in, like, legally.
Ability attributes and abilities. Is that where we're looking?
No, underneath your special abilities tab. So, like, you know, there's like
the character sheet.
Yeah.
And then underneath where the special abilities are, it says Mark XP. Gotcha.
Find it?
I'm so used to working support tech. I'm like, do you want to WebEx?
Yeah.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page. So, you can put experience points in one of two things. You can either put it in a playbook advancement, which is like right up the top there, and you've got this little track. And when you fill it with experience points, you can get a new special ability. Or you can put it into one of the tracks at the top of Insight, Prowess, or Resolve above your stats. Those tracks there, you can put experience points there, and when you fill that track, you can get a new dot in one of the abilities under there.
Okay.
So that's how, like, I'm just looking at Tez your sheet because I had it up, but like if you wanted to like get a dot in like Consort, then you could like put experience in your Resolve track and like fill it up, and like then you would get a new dot there.
What do we get? What do we get for the regular Mark XP though? Do we get another? We're gonna for like the playbook advancement. That's what it says. Yeah, when you fill that up, you get a new special ability. Okay.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go around the table, and everyone has like everyone's two of your experience markers are going to be the same, and one of them is going to be different based on your class. So we're going to go around the table and discuss together we're going to go through each trigger, and we're going to decide whether or not you get 0, 1, or 2 experience for that. And it's like, it's not just like as the GM, I don't hand it out. We like agree as a group that like so like who wants to go first, and we'll kind of like do it as an example.
I'll go first. Okay.
Sure.
All right, cool. All right, Eric, so we look at your thing, and I've got a special thing here. The overlay is a little busted, but now everyone can see the Roll20 screen. And I'll fix this overlay a little bit next time, but everyone's in like the wrong frames and stuff. I just didn't get a chance to fix it before. But now you can see the thing. So every time you roll a desperate action, mark experience in that action's attribute. So did you roll any desperate actions?
I have 3. I have 1 in finesse, 1 in attune, and 1 in study.
Okay. So you would mark 1 experience in each of insight, prowess, and resolve then. Because you had for the desperate attune, you would get the 1 in resolve. Yeah, exactly like that.
Yep. Okay.
So you get that, and then do we all think that Eric addressed a challenge with knowledge or arcane power?
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe he did. Yes.
I feel like I addressed every problem with arcane power, including problems I didn't need to. Like.
Right. Yeah. Totally. So then, do we all think that he should get 1 experience or 2 experience for that? So,
I'd say 2.
Did you do it like multiple times, or?
Yeah, you did it a few times.
You did it a few times. I'd say 2.
He dealt with at least 3 problems, so.
Yeah. So you get 2 experience from that trigger.
Thanks, guys. And that's in any of these 2 things that I want.
Yeah, you could put it in whatever track you want. Any of these experience points. You can put them both in the same track. You can split it up. I'm
just gonna add it all to stress. just keep tacking all that on. All
right. After this, remind me, and I'll tell you how I play this game involved as far as stress goes. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
I had an accent the whole time, but I guess not.
I don't think so.
Yeah, not really.
Not yet.
Yeah, but like now, like this is the thing, like this is the first session, so now you know that that's an experience trigger, so you can like look for those moments in the next session.
Right.
This is where you randomly bring up your backstory.
I know, I was gonna say, like 3 times.
Oh, by the way.
3 times throughout this game, I wanted to be like, my sister.
yeah, just like you just like break out into a like long monologue.
It's like, my mother owned a boat just like this.
And then this third trigger, I don't think anyone will get struggling with issues from your vice or trauma during the session.
No.
I said that you all are dirty. And
What is your vice?
Mine is luxury.
Oh, okay.
Vice. We're gonna get into vice next session, because next session
darn.
I'm going to. Next session you get to learn about the other phase of this game. So there's 2 phases to this game. There's the score, which is when you're doing all the cool heisty, like cool action movie action stuff. And then there's downtime, where everyone gets to kind of like spend their time in between scores and set up for the next score. And that's when I'll teach you guys all about all of the downtime stuff that you can do next time.
Cool.
And then eventually, as we kind of like get into the swing of the game and everyone's kind of got a good like handle on the mechanics and everything, the ideal is to, in one session, do score downtime or downtime score in one session.
Right.
Which can be totally done when like everyone's kind of in the swing of it. So
Right.
Yeah. So that's I think that's all you got for this
Yeah,
session.
that's it. That's okay.
Totally. Cool. Awesome. Nice job, dude. Who goes next? Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. No, you can go.
Go for it.
All right.
Okay, fine. I'll go.
All right, Taz. You rolled a bunch of desperate actions this time. You rolled the most desperate actions.
I wrote down 2, but I don't know if I did more or not.
Okay. Well, we'll put the 2 in for now.
Okay.
I can always go back and look through the logs a little bit later. Do you remember what those rolls were in?
They were both in skirmish.
Okay, so mark 2 experience in your prowess track.
Okay.
Nice job.
Those are the red things, right?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Okay.
You did it right. Did you address a challenge with violence or coercion?
Oh, for sure.
I feel like every challenge that was addressed was with violence of some form. Like, we were like, can you open the door? And
The door! Punch it!
Yeah. Oh, fight the door. Cool. So yeah, so you get, I assume everyone agrees that you get 2 experience for that.
Yeah.
And that goes in the bottom one.
It can go in
The-
whatever one you would like. You can distribute those 2 experience wherever you would like.
Oh, okay. Then I'll put them in there.
Cool. Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
Not heritage or background, but a little bit with my beliefs, I guess, that fist can fix all problems. I know it's pushing it a little bit, but that's kind of her motivation, that if
right.
boards can't solve it, fist.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think I would give you an experience for that.
I'd buy it for 1. I'd buy it for 1.
I think I'd buy it for 1 also.
I'd be fair if you didn't count it, but that's pushing it.
I'll buy it. I'll buy it. I might return it, but I'll buy it.
30 days. 30-day return policy.
I have to receive
Free trial.
Receipts on my fridge. I'm like,
next week Eric's gonna come back and be like, hey, so Des, like, I decided you shouldn't have that experience.
It doesn't fit.
I decided no, I'm sorry.
And then you did not struggle with issues from your vice or trauma during the session.
Nope.
So that's you done. Nice job.
So I can put that 1 anywhere now?
Yep.
Okay.
Simone, you want to go next?
Sure.
All right. Let's see. Did you roll any desperate actions? Did you mark
1.
them down? All right. Did you?
It was in prowess.
Cool. So mark a prowess.
Yay.
Cool. Did you address a challenge with tracking or violence?
I would say the cart attack, because I was specifically trying to.
You did attempt to drive a cart into a man.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I did do that.
You also commanded a goat to ram a man.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
So
I did that too.
I'd buy it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Cool. So 2
Good sale.
So 2 experience. Again, you can put that in your playbook advancement or one of your skill tracks, whichever one you would like.
What is the difference if I put it in the skill book or the book advancement?
When you fill out the playbook advancement, you can take another special ability.
Okay.
When you put it into the experience tickers, like for whichever one you get another dice in one of those skills.
Okay.
Now, if you fill out the playbook advancement, is that just another special ability from yours, or can you pull from other playbooks?
Well, so we talked about this, right? So you look down at the bottom, you can see veteran advance.
I don't see that. Where's that?
Choose a special ability from another source.
It's at the bottom of your ability special abilities. Choose a special ability from another source.
I don't have that. I have warded. That's it.
Let me look.
There should be like a plus sign that you can add your own.
Okay, I see it.
You don't have a veteran advance. I don't know why that is. I'll have to. I'm gonna double check like the rule book to see if there's like a special thing about veteran advances and whispers. But generally, the rule that I've used for veteran advances before is like the first one costs you just one playbook advance. The second one, if you want to take a second ability from another source, it costs you 2 playbook advances.
Okay.
And then 3 and so on. But if you're taking 3 abilities from another class, you might as well just change your class.
Just be the other class, right?
Yeah. So that's a thing.
Okay.
And again, I'll double check on the whisper rules, and we'll chat in between sessions.
A rogue who multi-classes in wizard and necromancy and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, totally.
There's a couple skills in Spider that I was interested in.
Yeah, Spider is like I think that would be a class you would enjoy once you like.
I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
I am.
If if anything happens to 13 here, and you need to roll a new character,
That's true. That's true. All right. Anyway.
All right. Cool. And Marissa.
Yep. So I only rolled 1 desperate, which was the last roll.
Okay.
And that was prowess.
Nice.
And then I think I addressed a challenge with deception.
Did you address a challenge with deception or influence? I think you definitely did.
Oh yeah.
I think it was everything.
Yeah, the first lie of the campaign was you lying to, or the first roll of the campaign was you lying to some guards.
True. I'm proud of that.
So.
Definitely 2.
2. Thank you.
Yep.
Did you express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background?
I mean, I'm a pirate, but other than that,
say yar.
I didn't say yar.
But now you know for next time.
Opportunity for yar later.
I have opportunity for yar later.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I really did that much.
You get your yar opportunity.
Yar opportunity.
And then vice or trauma, not so much.
Nah.
You really pegged that one.
Hey.
No, different meaning.
Well,
you.
And my character would probably be all right with that, so it's fine.
Fine. So the last thing that we do is your crew levels. Your crew gets experience and levels up.
Woohoo!
So I gave you guys a crew sheet, just all in caps, labeled crew. And this will be your crew sheet. We haven't picked what kind of crew you are yet. We talked about that. We're gonna do like some missions from different crew like types to kind of see what you guys want to pick being ultimately.
Okay.
So for right now, there's an experience trigger that is specific to a type of crew. Since we don't have a crew type yet, but you successfully completed a thing, I'm going to give you 1 experience for that.
Sweet.
And then there's experience triggers here for contending with challenges above your current station, which you guys did because of reasons that will become apparent next time when we talk about like some of the downtime stuff and kind of the macro mechanics of the game.
Okay.
Unknown raisins, great.
Yeah, well, we'll get into
mystery.
it. So like everyone's got every crew has like a different tier, and that kind of denotes like how high up in the world you are. So like you guys are tier 0 right now, and you guys were assaulting or stealing from the Lamplacks, which are a tier 1 crew. So you did contend with challenges above your current station.
Oh, okay.
Bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one. I don't think you did this time, but like now it's in your heads to remember that. Same thing with this last one. Express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew. Stuff to think about for next time.
Cool.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the like end of session ritual. We give out some experience points, and that's it.
Awesome.
That's the game.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yay.
That was really cool.
That was
That
awesome.
fun.
Yeah.
Yay.
No, this was fun. Thank you guys for joining. And
Of
we'll
course.
be back. We'll be back
Thanks
next
for hosting.
week.
Thanks for
Yeah.
hosting.
We're gonna take the stream offline real quick. So we'll say goodbye to the internet.
Bye.
Bye, Internet.
And we'll see you
Bye,
next
cats.
time.